Ron?
You are now live on Channel 8 and YouTube.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting of the Templeton Recreation Commission to order. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I think so. We on the phone, right? So what's that? In person on the phone. So we have Candace Graves, Roy Tainer, Ann Davis, me, Chris Loddick, and on the phone we have Jessica Sutton, Dave Manzella, and Derek Sutton. Right? Is that everybody? Okay, so in the interest of time and to be respectful of everyone's time, we just want to remind everybody that we're going to just stick to the agenda, go through the protocol. Everyone will get a chance to talk. I'll call on you when we go into debate some of these items in here and vote on them. So the process will be when you get to voting items is to someone needs to make a motion to bring the issue to the floor. If we have a second motion, then we will debate it, and then after the debate, we'll take a roll call vote. So let's start with the approving of the minutes. So we have, I think the latest copy, I sent them out, of the July 19th minutes.
July.
Yeah, so we're missing one from July. So I think this was ones that were being updated, right?
I have no idea.
I think they weren't voted on for approval, and that's why they were brought back to the table.
Make a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from July 19th, 2021.
I second that. How do the meetings look? I mean, do we have any updates on them?
On the minutes?
On the minutes?
Well, we
from
were,
July 19th.
we were sent it as an email. It wasn't an actual attachment. And then it was piecemealed a few times. Different members did it. I couldn't find the original one that I got all in one. I had seen it online, but it disappeared. So I don't know. I put this one, but it's very close to, I think it's the same thing. The only thing difference is the only thing that that would be different is that the vote cast, what the vote was, would be the difference on it. But I think it was exactly what it was. But I could piecemeal with the email, the way the email was sent. And then I just pasted it in there and I just put, because I knew what the motions were. So I put them, but we can just strike that part because that might be an add-on. I'm not sure.
So
I mean, I
I
can
don't
look
have
and
one.
double check.
I don't have that.
You don't
Yeah.
have in
No.
your book,
Nice.
the 19th of July?
Yep.
See, yeah,
so I
it
think I
was.
made a copy of.
Yeah, I mean, I have it in my email. It was sent as an email and it just said what it was. And it was never done as an attachment or official printout.
Well,
That's the thing. It was never, we never received it as an actual.
So I mean, as far as the content on it,
This was the content of what was on the actual
so is
email.
there any changes? What are the?
The only
delta from
changes was, the only thing that I wrote was, I knew what the vote was, the votes for each of the actual officers. But everything else was exactly the way that it was basically sent to us. It actually said adjourn meeting. I mean, it said July 27, the meeting, next meeting would be held. It had all the stuff. It was just not done in a PDF. It was done in an email format. So-
I got October 1st. March 20.
And I just
Okay.
I wrote myself notes. These were just my notes that I wrote based on that email. So I had it. So this is what this is, my notes, taking that. and
So
just
besides
adopting
having like different notes, the ones that we were sent, are there any changes you propose to make to this? And then we
it. The
vote
only
on it again?
changes that I put in my notes was I put that, 5 yeses and 0 nos. Derek treasurer, 5 yeses, 0 nos. I just put the actual tally of the
Okay,
votes.
so you want
That's
to
it,
add that to the
yeah.
meeting minutes?
Yeah, that's the only thing I had changed. I just put it for my references in my notes. That was just what I did with that email. And everything else,
Alright.
I mean, I don't have any other copy. It's the only copy that's the only one I did.
So we'll update the minutes to reflect the votes. And then we can approve them, right, with those changes?
I believe so. So I make a motion to accept the adjusted meeting minutes from July 19th, 2021.
All right. Second, so let's do a roll call vote. Let's start on the phone. Jessica,
Yes.
Derek,
Yes.
Dave,
I'll abstain because I wasn't part of the committee then.
good call. Aaron,
Yes.
I vote yes. Joy,
Sure, why not?
Candace.
Yes,
So now we have the November 17th one. What is it? Yeah. Okay, any changes to the November 17th?
yes, I do have a motion.
Okay,
I have a motion to approve the minutes of 11/17/2021 is written with the changes that all reference to mission statement to be changed to budget narrative. And that the line a member was worried about the subcommittee as they does not like the idea of just a few members working on it be stricken out in its entirety of the minutes. I also have, I have it written down for just to write a copy of my motion.
we'll approve it.
So we were discussing a mission statement. We weren't discussing,
We were discussing the budget, sorry,
it was a mission statement that we were working on, not a budget narrative, correct? I'm asking Jackie.
The budget narrative is part of the submission for the 23 budget. It's a narrative about your accomplishments.
But it's different than the mission statement, correct?
Yes,
So what we were working on was the mission statement, not the budget narrative.
I mean,
at
the
that
mission
time.
statement is in the narrative, but the narrative includes more than just the mission statement.
well, I have an explanation for my motion, if you'd like to hear it, and I printed that out too. Okay, so where it says mission statement, the reason why I suggest it is because during the time of the meeting, I guess I didn't write that part of my notes, but during the time of the meeting, I refer to, I have it someplace in my packet, but I refer to just Jackie's, I refer to Jackie's letter, the email she gave us, and I refer to that she gives us a template that was attached to the email, which I have right here. And I have a copy of that I can give you. So I'm referring to this when I'm talking, okay? And I'm referring to this when I'm talking. So when you guys keep on saying mission statement, I will say, I say budget narrative or the thing that Jackie says. So we're talking about the actual mission statement within the budget narrative. If you want to include the a motion to say that the mission statement into the, you know, the budget narrative into the mission statement, if you want to include, like, you know what I mean, the content of into it, that's fine. But some of these references in our minutes are actually referring to the mission, the budget narrative, not the mission statement. So if you were to read these minutes, I just want to correct this. If you read these minutes as a reference point, if you missed the meeting and you got sent them, you wouldn't be able to understand what it really was talking about because it wouldn't follow it correctly. Just like the suggestion with to strike out the entirety of the word a member was worried about, because a member was worried about also the subcommittee due to the short time frame in budget narrative due date, which I asked about the due date. I also refer to the season of the holiday. So that would be a misleading line to the reader of our minutes. So that's why I made these corrections.
does anybody oppose changing the line from mission statement to budget narrative? I don't.
No,
I
that's fine.
I kind of do, because when we were looking at the mission statement that you sent, Jackie, that was the library one. When we met and worked on the mission statement, we kind of just went over, we didn't go into, we went into like our goals and status and accomplishments, but we didn't go into any budget portions of it. So to me, this isn't, unless I'm mistaken, this isn't us, this isn't a reflection of what we're asking for in our budget. This is just a reflection of what we accomplished and what we hope to accomplish. But it wasn't a budget discussion, if that
It was
makes
just
any
the
sense.
narrative, right? So the mission statement's a part of that narrative.
So the email that we
Yeah,
all
but not like
received.
it wasn't part of the budget narrative because we didn't discuss any budget in it.
It was what I,
So I make a motion to approve the minutes with the correction that Candace said, remove the one line and change the mission statement to budget narrative. Have a second?
I'd second it.
Candace seconds it. Okay,
Yeah.
let's have a vote. Jessica? You're on mute. Derek? So the motion is to remove the mission statement.
I said yes. Sorry,
Okay.
I was on mute.
Okay, Derek?
I have to vote no. We didn't discuss the budget at all at that point. I can't agree with that.
Okay, Aaron?
I agree. I have to vote no. I would be willing to call it a mission statement narrative, but not a mission statement budget narrative.
I agree with Eric.
Dave?
I'll abstain because I was not at the meeting.
So I'm gonna vote yes, so looks like the meetings pass, keeping the same mission statement in there. What about removing the line? I guess we didn't, there was two changes there. So let's vote on, so that was the mission statement, budget narrative, right? So we want to keep it in minutes to say mission statement. So the next thing we want to vote on, I guess, is removing that line. So I say yes.
I'll second that.
Okay, let's
I
have a
say
vote.
yes.
Jessica,
but-
Eric,
Yes. Yeah, I'll vote.
Yes,
David, you want to?
Abstain.
Aaron's yes. I'm a yes. Joy's a yes.
I can't even see where it is on this.
It's on minutes.
I've got to discuss the mission statement.
There's the minutes for the 17th. Right here. This one right here. The last on the page. I don't have a second
That's
page.
the first.
It's the first page. I don't have the second. Oh, I have the second. Yeah, it's on the first page at the bottom. It's the last sentence on the first page on the bottom.
I think it's cool.
It's cut off. It may go to the second page. too.
Yeah. She wants to strike that sentence out.
Okay,
Okay, so motion back. So we approve those minutes right with those changes.
I didn't vote.
I
Oh,
thought you
did you
voted
ask?
yes.
I voted yes now.
Okay, yes, it is.
Thank you.
Okay. Give me a second. Oh, okay, so we got through the minutes.
We have one more.
Oh, we have one more minutes, the subcommittee meeting minutes. So we'll make a motion to approve it.
I make a motion to approve the subcommittee meeting minutes.
I second it.
I would like to do a discussion for a second, please.
Sure.
I have a suggested correction, believe this or not. So on the bottom where it says my suggested correction would be the name Candace Graves. The name Graves is spelled G-R-V-E-S with G-A-R-V-E apostrophe S. My last name is actually spelled G-A-R-V-E-S. So the apostrophe would actually come after my S in my name.
Okay, so you want to move
Yeah.
the apostrophe?
Yeah, I want to move the apostrophe
Alright.
in my last name, then I can actually vote on it.
Okay, so the correction is to move the apostrophe. Let's vote on those. To vote, to accept the minutes with the moving of the apostrophe. Jessica,
Yes.
Eric,
yes,
David,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
I vote yes. Joy?
yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, got through the minutes, all three set with the correction. Okay, next item on the old business is basketball update. Is that gonna be you, Jessica, providing a basketball update?
I can do basketball. We have 178 kids signed up. We have 20 sponsors. We had a little shirt issue. Xavier decided to push basketball back a week. So this Saturday, we have meet and greets and shirt pass outs and taking pictures. And then the first Saturday after the holidays, we are going to start basketball. All emails have gone out. Everyone should have been notified by now of who their coach is, what team their kids are on, when their games are. I think that's about it. Yeah. Any questions?
No, I don't think so.
I had one.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
How, did they have enough money for the shirts?
Yes.
Good.
Anybody else?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. I'll just name the three of them. I wanted to know more about the concession stand and the storage, if we're doing one, and if we are, about the storage capability, and if we're using the leftovers from soccer. About the Corey forms, if all of our coordinators and volunteers, et cetera, are all up to par, and the photographer, and how that will be put to work. Those are the three items that I'd like to know about.
So is the photographer, what about the photographer?
I like to know how that, on picture day, how that will be coming to play, how we're doing that for the basketball.
Well, Xavier is not the photographer. So I believe we got another one. Well, I know we got another one, but it's somebody that he knows. So it's not him.
You don't know,
As for the concession stand, I was gonna actually talk to you about that, Candace, and see if you wanted to do it with me again. Because I don't know what the protocols are gonna be for COVID, like if we're gonna be able to have extra parents there when their kids aren't playing and stuff. So I don't know. And we got a lot of leftover from soccer. So I figured we'd use that up. You know, if anybody wants to donate like donuts or pizza or something, because it's going to be a long day, then, you know, we can sell that also. That was my thoughts. We can't have anything hot in there like crock pots or Keurig or anything. So I was just gonna maybe get some coolers and some ice and put soda and waters there.
do they give, I have a question, are they gonna give like do we have a closet or something at the school, like a rec closet or something where we store,
No, I think we're gonna have to lug
it back and forth every time?
I think so.
'Cause I know the school has a supply closet for concession stands for the other thing. I wonder if we could ask a request, if there's a small corner in there, we could store our stuff.
There.
I can answer that. So the concession stand food needs to go back and forth to the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
However, basketballs and all that are allowed to be stored in the supply closet.
Oh, the
Is
basketball.
it? Excellent.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I can help a little bit. I just depends on what kind of schedule. I mean, I can do that. I'd like to get the name for the record for who the photographer will be and how that like if you know if they're gonna be like a package available to the parents and stuff.
I think it's gonna be like it was for soccer.
Yeah, as long as we have a different one, I mean, a photographer that's not associated, I think that's fine.
Oh, it has to be, she can't know him?
What do you mean?
So I mean, not a part of his company. It can't be a part of his company. It has to be a separate entity. I believe that he can't use his own company to do that. But the person, if the person is has their own company or whatever, if they're friends with him, I mean, we can't help what people are friends with. We can't
Right.
control friendship. It is short notice and it is a holiday time to find a last minute photographer is very difficult. And no, I mean, I'm a photographer. I know many people that are photographers. So, I mean, he's a coordinator. We hired him, the town has hired him to do the job. And so it would go under his guides to pick his photographer for his package, I believe. So I guess we, as a committee, we would trust that.
So do you know who the photographer is? Because it's next Saturday we're having
Yeah,
those pictures.
right.
Yeah.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. Or if it-
Jessica?
don't fix it if it's not broken. there.
Yes. It's Demi.
Okay, so pictures are next week. We're gonna have packet, okay,
And the core, they're all the coordinators, refs, et cetera, are all set on all the cores and checks, and their names are given to balance it out with. the
Well,
town.
I have my coordinator and the refs are gonna be the other two guys. I did not follow up on that. I will, but they're all correctional officers, so I would assume that they could pass a court.
Yeah, you just want to make sure it's on list with the town.
No, I get it. That makes sense.
Like we did for soccer. It's just a question, just like we did. I just ran the questions that we did, everything we did for soccer, and I just applied it to basketball.
No, I'm gonna shoot a text right now.
That's the
is
only.
that it for
question.
basketball?
Yep, that's all I have.
So sponsorship update. Aaron?
So I sent out quite a few thank you cards, as did Joy. We went back and forth.
I have one more to do because I just picked up the last one the other day and I thought I'd give it a couple days before I pounce on him again.
Great. So the handwritten ones were sent out. I did see that they were posted on Facebook, and I did also see that they were posted on the website. So,
Any questions about sponsorships?
The banner, are we having the banner? That would be Jessica, we know.
I think we were only doing a banner if we had too many for shirts. Did we have too many for shirts?
No, we have right enough, exactly 20.
Oops, sorry. We sold a package to the sponsors to tell them that they would be paying for the shirts for the teams, and that they would be featured on a banner in the gym.
What about the names of the sponsors that paid $150?
That's what I'm talking about. They would be on a banner that would be in the,
Why aren't they going to be on the shirts?
they're gonna be on the shirts too.
Oh,
It's a combo. So that for $150, your name's on the back of the shirt and your name's on the banner that hangs with all the business. It would be what all the businesses on one banner. It's just listing.
Can I ask
them
a
all.
question?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Candace, I thought you were done. I don't remember voting on a banner. I know we voted on the shirts. When did that happen?
I don't remember what meeting it was, but when we talked about the
it was
shirts
mentioned.
and the price point, we said that paid $150, they would be on a banner. It's a banner. A banner like that would probably cost us about $47 to $50 at probably most. So we're not talking a significant amount of money. But we would put all the businesses' names, the ones we sent the thank yous out, the ones that are be on the back of the shirt on the banner, and we would have it hanging up in the gym. I mean, if we don't have it for the 18th, that's fine, but as
So
long as
who's
it's
gonna
up.
take the action item to get the
It would
banner?
be,
Is that something?
you can even hang it at the concession
No,
stand or
to
something.
make the banner or to get it made.
I
mean, that seems like something you know about, right? So,
Well, DW did do the banner that we did for this, the sign up one he had done, and he does their shirts. So I mean, usually you either do that. Or
I
you-
just texted him and asked him if he could do it.
okay,
Can I ask a
So
question?
we want
Jack?
one big banner with everybody's name on it, correct?
Yeah.
Or do we want little ones with individual ones?
No, just one big banner. It just says their name. We can hang it up either in the gym or at the concession stand. Every time we set up the concession stand, wherever they make us put the concession stand, we just have to have the banner that says their names and a thank you. So it's always up. So it reminds the goer of the, to the program that these are the.
Yeah.
You understand all the sponsors for the whole program.
Should it
So I'm-
just say,
Was
should it
there-
say like, thank you Templeton Rec Basketball 2021 or 22 actually?
So was it
Or just
$100
thank
or
you?
150, or was it just 150 and it included the banner and the shirt?
shirts and everybody on the
That's why I was
banner.
confused.
Yeah.
I don't remember voting
Yeah.
on that. I remember $100 and it was just on the back of the shirt.
Right, but I think everybody paid 150. I think they all ended up paying the 150, which would have included the banner.
So Jessica, you're gonna take the action item to get that made?
I'm
ask-
gonna,
We only had
Okay.
10 that paid 150 that I collected in. There were others that collected 150.
Some were sent in. Jesse got some.
I think if we just put them all, at this point, because I think it looked nice, but they all match the shirts that are in the gym. I mean, because it's a little bit of a.
So Jessica, do you have a
Yeah.
consolidated list of all the donors, all the
Yes.
sponsorships?
She had-
yes, I do. I emailed them to everybody today.
Yeah, it's all right here in our. packet.
Okay, and you'll take the action item to take the ban. Ask
Yeah,
about
I'm
the-
doing it right now.
Perfect. Anything else about sponsorships?
And then the banner will just come out of the expense to our revolving account. Nope, I don't have anything. I'm just talking myself.
So
Sorry.
next agenda item is the open meeting law complaint update. I don't know if that was supposed to be, if someone else has an update or that was my update. So it was just, so I did send in the letter, and I noticed on our website, there's agenda items, underneath the agenda items, there are some meeting minutes. I don't know who was putting them there for this meeting. It was a list of a couple of the ones that we were missing. Is that something you were attaching on there that we were supposed to vote on, or?
So, oh, wait, so which website are we referring to? The templetonmass.gov/recreation?
The Templeton Mess, the agenda, wherever we have the upcoming meetings and the agenda and the minutes.
Right.
You look at the agenda, there's a bunch of meeting minutes posted to today's agenda for past meetings, and some of those ones are the ones that are
David would
missing.
know about that. You would also know about the town, the my town government, those two, because that would fall under David and how they got posted up.
I don't think David posts many.
It's not under the minutes, it's under the agenda block, I believe, for
Right.
today's
On
meeting.
I didn't see that.
Can you
On,
see it?
the My Town Government one?
Yeah, if you look at today's meeting, the 13th, there's like 4 sets of,
Right here, where it says meeting revision history.
yeah.
That's just when I added to the agenda, what Candace asked me. to
That's the
add.
dates that she added. So she added the agenda here, then she updated it, then she updated it again, then she updated it again. So this isn't meeting minutes. This is
It's all
just. the
Word
agenda.
doc. I thought with the meeting minute. Maybe not.
I think where you're talking. is- I think.
Okay, I'll go back through that. I swear I saw Word documents, like doc
Right
files in there.
So if you click on recreation, it has all of our meeting minutes are in here.
Yeah, so it's, what's that right there?
That's from September 3rd.
Yeah, that's what some of the ones that we were missing.
Some of our minutes are
Committee
listed
notes,
on
here's
our,
February 6th, that's one of the ones we were missing.
I think.
So I didn't know how they got
some of
attached
us
to this
still
meeting, you know what I mean?
has Or have destroyed.
That was when I just clicked on.
So I
recreation.
did send
What's
in
going
the
on with him?
open meeting law complaint. I sent in the letter, and I just talked to the town clerk. And our process for updating minutes is to approve them. And then David can upload them to the town site, and then she's gonna download them and put them in a file for us. So these ones that are missing that aren't up on the site are ones that are missing that we gotta figure out how to account for.
well,
And I did notice a
what's-
couple of them were on today's meeting invite, so, but I didn't have a chance to go and.
so
coordinate
all
those.
of our minutes, this last one we just did the 19th and the one we just did today would be, all of them been voted on. So all of our minutes are in compliance. We don't necessarily, I don't believe we necessarily have to legally put them up, but we do it as to help for the residents, so they have them.
So we don't legally have to put them up, but we have to give
We
them
have
to
to
the
be able to give
town.
them,
We have to give them to the town clerk, right? And her process is to upload them to the town website, and she will download them and file them in her folder. That's her process.
okay.
So that's what
sounds
we're
like a
gonna do
process.
that's what we've been doing it all along since this board. We're missing a couple meetings from the last board. I see some of the notes in there.
Okay.
And then there's a couple other ones that I'm going through and seeing if we can find. But I don't know how to reconcile that if we can't find those.
Those are ones before this board.
But there's some
That was
on,
ones before this board.
What are the dates?
I do know where some of them are. They're on our actual templetonmass.gov/recreation. I don't even call that hyphen commission, that page. Our commission page on the templetonmass.gov page on, if you look at minutes, the ones that we approved, they're up on there too. So,
Was there somebody that was in charge of migrating that over to the new website? Or is whatever's left there is like a stub and the rest is?
Well, generally, the boards and committees, for the most part, we didn't really have a liaison until I brought in another staff member to handle assistance to all the boards and committees and commissions in the town. So some of these things, unfortunately, when you're relying on volunteers, it's a challenge in itself, but we're certainly making progress on moving all these materials over. And if there's any assistance you need from our office, please let us know.
Okay, we can take a look and see what's on that site as well.
if we're gonna
But I
talk,
think also too, like we were talking, building some of that continuity documentation, so that way someone else takes over they know our processes and stuff, right? And then there's gotta be some governance, especially if we're dealing with volunteers here, some governance someplace, so people are making sure that, you know, the next rec commission is doing the right thing. You know?
I do want to say something for the record online. The only thing I do see with our minutes on both sites is the November 8th one is not our revised one because the word candy, my name is spelled Candy with a Y. We made a revised to put Candace. And then it was David putting some of the stuff on our website at templetonmass.gov. And they referred to him as an employee of, we had changed that, but he was just the one doing it for our rec. We had made those, so however they got up on that site, they're actually not, that's the only thing I see that's wrong. Other than that, I've looked through it all. I actually have all my minutes in my book, my handy dandy book for my notes.
So if there's
And so I attached them with what I had.
well, so if there's missing or non-revised notes, let's document those, right?
Right,
And either send them out, so we don't take time here, just send out, you know, what you think is wrong with those notes, and then we can vote on them next time. But these meeting minutes here, so I did this one for the subcommittee, and then we'll have somebody take responsibility for these
Right.
ones, right? The changes to this, get them to David, and he can upload them to the site. Right?
yeah, like I said, we had voted for we voted for all our minutes, they were all voted for.
Right.
And that the only one I see that there's an issue with is the November 8th one, with it, we voted for the revisal, but it's not actually, it's actually the original that's on there, but other than that, they all look good, and like I said, I already know what it is. It's basically, it's my name, spelled Candy C.
Well, if you know something like that, and David's responsible for uploading, if you just want to reach out to him and say, hey, it's not the revised one up
Right.
there, can we make a change in it?
And put the right version up.
Okay, so that's for the open meeting law complaint, ski program update. So I did have a note on that. We need to take another vote because maybe there's another update that Jessica has about the program itself. But we can't pay it out of the revolving account. We need a vote to pay it out of the donation account.
Okay.
Because there's a rule that we can't use the revolving account around that. So I'll make a motion to make that payment out of the donation account
I
Do we have-
second.
instead of the revolving account. Jessica seconds. So let's have,
Do we still have to call it an expenditure, or can we still call it? What did
It's a
you say?
donation.
A donation?
It's a donation.
Does it matter?
so it's
Say
still
donation.
expenditure out of the account. It's just a different account. That's all.
So we have to make the motion to take it out of that account as an expenditure. Is that how we would make the motion?
I think we just did make the motion to move it out of that account, to take it from that account. Jessica seconded it. Any other debate about the mechanics?
No, I just wanted to make sure we had the right phrasing on it, so it doesn't come back if somebody's watching the meeting, or if it's in our minutes. It's an expenditure, that's all.
Okay, so let's do a roll call vote. Jessica,
Yes,
Derek,
Yes,
David,
Yes,
Aaron?
Yes.
I'm still a no. Joy,
I'm still no.
Candace?
Yes.
Okay, so that motion passed 5-2 to take that expenditure out of the donation account instead of the revolving account. Okay, so
That is for the 2,500 for the bus.
that was half of that, right? 1,200?
Was it?
That's 1,200, right, Jessica?
yes.
Okay. So the next item on old business is the Recreation Commission narrative. I think everyone's got a copy of that, right?
I know, there's so many places here. I don't know.
Just-
It was the email I sent you and the template. That would be the budget narrative
So this,
that I gave you guys.
so
That's actually the budget.
So I make a motion to accept the Templeton Recreation Commission, what do we call it? Budget narrative that includes the mission statement, vision statement, FY '21 accomplishments, FY '22 goals.
It was voted down as a budget. narrative, it was.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. The Templeton Recreation Commission mission statement. And everyone got a copy of that, so I make a motion to accept the,
I didn't get a copy of that.
I sent it in email.
Let me see.
if I have a second on that motion.
Yes, I second it.
Okay, Aaron.
I would like to, I would
Hold on a
like,
second. Aaron seconds the motions. Now we'll open it up for debate before we vote on it.
okay,
So,
okay, so I think you guys did a wonderful job on in the email that you sent with what you sent. I think it's excellent. There's tons of stuff in it. And it all worked to what it needs to be to fit the actual template. The template is, all of the departments, I believe, got this thing to do. And I have motions to actually, so that we are compliant to what we're actually asked, so that when we send it to Jackie, it would actually fit. So it's, I'm taking, so I have these motions and I have these motions that I would like to make, and
so I don't know if you,
they're changes. So basically,
so I don't
I
know if you
have,
need to make a motion. We can
No,
just,
I do.
now's the time
well,
to debate the
so I
changes.
just, I have.
We made a motion.
We made a
to
motion
accept
and
the minutes.
seconded it, so
we can-
now we vote on it,
No,
correct?
So-
okay, excuse me.
Hold on a second. So we made a motion. It was seconded. Now it's time to discuss any changes you want to make.
Right, and
to the
that's what I'm
changes.
doing. So I
Okay,
didn't know
just-
how you didn't
I'm
want
just
me to
setting it-
discuss it, if you want me to say it in the motion sense,
No,
because it
I'm
breaks it
saying
down.
we made a motion, we seconded it. Now it's time for discussion.
Okay,
before
so
we vote.
discussion is, there is corrections. Okay, so there's correct, suggested corrections, and I have these corrections. So, and I had done it using the format for my corrections, and I wrote my corrections based on motions, so it's hard, this is gonna be difficult for me to do.
So let's get, so.
But I
let's-
would like
Hold on a
to-
second. Let's go through it step by step,
That's
right?
why
So
my
let's
motion-
go through the mission statement, right, first.
So, okay, in the mission statement, I have a motion to accept the mission statement section only of the subcommittee presentation budget narrative as written, with the changes that the Recreation Committee be changed to the Recreation Commission and to be accepted as the recreational commissional official mission statement. So I'm only asking for the budget narrative for the mission statement portion right now in this.
So the
motion.
change is to change the recreation, committee to commission. Okay,
Correct.
so we're the commission.
That's,
Okay.
that's what I would say is, if I read this to you, you'll see where I'm going with this, and this is not, I'm trying to tell you that it's
Okay.
your work. I'm just
So,
fitting it into the narrative.
so does anybody else online have anything that they want to talk about as far as the mission statement goes? Or in the room?
So to kind of make everybody happy, what if we change the name to the Templeton Recreation Commission mission narrative instead of mission statement?
I just need you to understand for a second, okay?
Hold on a second. So that's a proposed change is Templeton Recreation Commission narrative.
Mission narrative.
And then
Pass
under the
this
mission
down.
statement, there's a change here from the committee to the commission, right?
Okay. I need her to see what I'm going with. I'm gonna send Jessica a thing to it too. I need to,
Okay, so let's go to, oh.
based
Oh, I'm
on
sorry,
Jackie's.
Jackie.
It's all
input.
right. Can I just ask Adam to speak to this? I think we're
Okay.
getting kind of bogged down with the words. Because the narrative, even though it has the word budget in it, and I get it, we didn't talk about numbers or anything. But part of that narrative, that front page document for every department involves the mission statement, the accomplishments, goals, and the goals for the next year, which kind of touches on the budget a little bit. Like, this is what we want to do. Our budget kind of bears that out. And so I think to change what you're calling it, it's just gonna look very different from the other departments and committees. And I don't think it changes what this is, but you're calling it something different, and that might create some confusion. Maybe Adam could.
Yeah, my only suggestion would be, because I know you didn't work on your budget per se, but this is gonna be in the budget book. And this is your narrative pertaining to your budget request that you'll be working on next. My only suggestion would be to remove at the top line, Templeton Recreation Commission mission statement, because it's redundant, because you have mission statement right below it. So I would just get rid of that and move all this contact person and push that off to the left, like all the other departments. So it's, and I know you didn't see the other departments because we're getting them in our office, but that way they look all relatively the same. So once the select board and advisory committee is going through the budget, they all stay consistent.
So you just wanted to,
So it's the formatting.
so Templeton Recreation Commission and then move that over. So,
So left indented.
so nothing with narrative, nothing with mission statement. Gotcha. Okay.
Okay,
And that's
No,
community
it's not
services, right? Yeah, yeah.
And it needs to say community services, recreation, Templeton Recreation Commission.
Templeton Recreation Commission is fine,
Okay.
Okay.
or department, however you want to list it.
I would just like I sent all of you to, and on Zoom, I sent you all what I gave them. And so it was the email that Jackie gave us. It was the template that Jackie gave us. And it has my motions on what I suggested to change from their product work. They did so they're asking us to vote on a subcommittee's product. And I'm on the commission, so I would like the right to go through the product and to vote on the different sections to put it. Now, on my last page of one of my suggestions would be what I feel like it would be closer to what everybody else in the department is. So I'm taking their work. I'm not putting my stuff from my thing before that everybody thought was something I was trying to tell everybody from the meeting before. That was just my product work because I didn't understand how to do it. And I was just asking, do I have to do more to it? But this is what was, given to me. And there were sections like extra credit. I mean, the vision statement, I love it, but it's not, needs to be in here. The FY21 is actually for what goes in this book. That's what we put the FY21. And I have a motion. If you look at my motions, I would actually make a motion to actually have certain people work on that to get it ready for the book. So that's something else that happens later. The part where it says FY22 goals and current status, that's not, they're looking for when our fiscal year started at 22 to right now. So they're only asking for that in that actual budget narrative template. They're asking for that. And then the goals, I kept all the goals. So I used that part, I used what Jackie had recommended, because she actually recommends it in our actual document. If you look at her email when she gives you the template. So I used that, and I used some of what you guys put in, and I meshed it together. So that's all I'm doing. I'm not actually, this is not my personal stuff. This is your subcommittee stuff meshed in with Jackie's stuff. And then I just worked it so it fits into the actual, it works into the actual document the way, so we can send it back to look like everybody else's.
Yeah, so we have the mission statement, right? So you like the mission statement? I'm not talking, we can fix the formatting. It's like 5 seconds to fix formatting.
No,
I'm just talking
whatever.
about content.
Right.
I just want to talk about content right now, right?
Okay,
So vision statement,
is great
is-
for us to have a vision
is it
statement, but
great?
not for this document.
it's fine. I mean,
It's up to the committee.
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to add something else,
The-
that a different department doesn't have, I mean, that's a committee vote.
Right.
You.
yeah, so I mean, so
The
we got the mission statement, right? We like that. Let's go down to the vision statement. Let's not talk about formatting. We can fix it.
Okay, well, the
formatting, no
vision statement
problem.
also needs a correction. It has to say commission.
Commission too, okay.
Yeah, if you keep that, that's fine. And then the FY21
So hold on a
accomplishment.
second. So vision statement, commission, anybody else on the phone have anything they want to revise about the vision statement? Okay, so FY21 accomplishments.
It doesn't belong there. It'll go to the book. That
So
would
do
be
we
s-
not need FY21?
Other departments are doing that.
We have 21.
So we have 21 because we're in FY22.
Okay, because it wasn't in the template that was sent to us.
FY21, we have accomplishment. Anything about the content of the FY21 accomplishments?
I don't know nothing about it, so no.
So, okay, so next we're going to move on to FY22 goals and current status. So this is starting in July 1st, everything we've done up until this point or have planned to do and what the status is.
Well,
So is there anything in here,
I think-
content wise, let's start with people on the phone, content wise, that needs to change with this FY22 goals and current status?
I would like to add field hockey clinics.
So that's for FY23, right? I'll
Oh,
mark it.
my bad. Sorry.
So as far as FY22 goals and current status, anything we want to change as far as content there? Anybody here in the room?
yeah. I like it to say that it just says FY 22 accomplishments.
So it's not complete yet.
Yeah, but we're in the middle of
We're in the middle, so
FY22.
we-
I know,
set
but
our
I would
goals
just like
and
it
the
to say
status.
that the accomplishment's not what's going on in progress. I think it just makes it more uniform, in my opinion.
So we're not doing we're not finished with, so it's not accomplished.
But the thing is, it's only talking about what happened from the start of FY 22
Yeah.
to current. That's all that's only in any department in this town.
Not true.
can actually give.
Basketball is going on currently. Softball is in
Right,
progress.
and
of hiring
exactly.
someone.
So if you look at what
So if you look at
Jackie's
the,
saying this is the way that others.
This is exactly the way.
Yeah.
other departments-
and I
Okay,
think
well-
it was in the town, some of the town, at the town, all boards. maybe, too.
Okay, because it wasn't what the template reflected, that's all I'm just saying. The template said FY 22 accomplishments, it didn't reflect any of that. It was, your suggestions were put inside it. The template, it's in the email, I attached it. It says, it would say, it says recruiting new members, it says execute a new thing, it's all numbered, and I just thought it had to look similar to that, that's all. I thought, the people who have to look at that, trying to make it simple and easy.
So
to
is there
look at.
anything specifically about the content of the FY 22 goals and current status that you'd like to change? Or you think is wrong? Anybody online?
Does it include the
No, it
sponsorship?
looks all right.
Does the basketball include the sponsorship, the local sponsorship we got?
I don't know if that was a goal of the board to.
Well, it'd be considered an
sponsorships, so-
accomplishment, because that would be what we've done within the program. We hired, the basketball program, we hired coordinators, we secured the gym space, we secured the team sponsorship for local businesses, and 171 children.
So this is
registered
like
participants.
a roll-up summary, I think. So
Yeah.
just saying that the basketball, status of the basketball, program, there's like tons of sub bullets that we could put under each one of these, right? But I think we're just a roll-up of our major goals and accomplishments, right? Not necessarily all the,
Well, our
sausage making
website
I
and
had
our
to go into
social
it.
media set up, and we updated, that wasn't listed in it. It doesn't talk about David doing what he's doing on the website. And the
so I wouldn't
Facebook
think,
account.
I personally wouldn't consider that a goal or an accomplishment. That's something we need to do. It's like part of our
Well,
process.
it was because we had to bring it all back, so it is an accomplishment to actually bring all that stuff back and get it going, so. We showed support to the ski club. It said, ski program in progress, but we showed support to the ski club would be with the statement. The ice rink in progress. I don't know.
Yes, this is just a roll-up. And it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be like a narrative unto itself, right? So does anybody have any content changes to FY 22 goals
Yeah,
and current status?
I do. I would like it to say, working to get back the popular recreation learn to swim program.
That would be the FY 23 goal because that will be after.
Oh,
July
Yeah,
1st,
so we
after-
haven't got to.
Oh, I thought we were on that. Fine.
So we tried that this year, but we weren't able to pull it off. Okay, so,
Well, the recreation basketball night at the Varsity Boys and Girls Club in progress. I don't know what that is, and that would not come under us, so I wouldn't put that in us. That would be something that if the coordinator is working with something with the school to do because I know they do basketball nights for rec or whatever. That would be something under the coordinator that wouldn't come under us, so that line.
Not true. I'm the
I
one
think
setting
you
it up
know.
and I'm on the committee.
But we did a meeting though. We didn't vote on it. We didn't make a motion on it. First time I heard it is when I read it in the actual, in this particular budget narrative.
I think it's in our.
We've always
business.
had basketball for the adults
It's what we,
in the rec department.
No, a basketball night, Joy, where the
Yeah,
rec
basketball
kids
night with
go
the
to the
school.
game and they're.
Oh, I
They're
see.
knowledge.
no, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm
But
just
we
saying
started,
do this in a meeting. This wasn't discussed in a meeting. We didn't talk about it. In
well,
a
it
meeting.
started with,
It was discussed last meeting when we were talking about scholarships and youth sports nights.
so we'll put a pin in that until we vote on that later on in new business, right? So I like
Okay.
putting it, I like seeing it in there, right? So that I don't hear any major content changes for the FY 22 goals and current status, right? Except for the recreation, so that'll be, I guess, a mystery we'll solve at the end of the meeting, right? So let's see if we vote on that. FY 23 goals. So any content changes on the FY 23 goals?
yeah,
I don't know if we should add the field hockey clinic because we can consider that one new program to our portfolio. Correct?
Or bring it back?
I'm asking you, Jess, because you're the one that wanted to add the field hockey clinic in.
Can you repeat your question? Because you're a little behind me here.
Sure. I said, do we need to specifically say the field hockey clinic? Because that would, to me, fall under one new program in our portfolio. Or at least one new program in our portfolio.
I mean,
would
we
be-
don't have to add it, but I think it would be nice to see like that's what we're leaning towards.
Okay.
We used to have them.
I think they run them over in Gardner too, don't they? Doesn't,
I would like after 23 to go.
doesn't Dan Forte run those field
What?
hockey programs over in the clinic over at field hockey?
I don't know if he
Gardner?
has a clinic for the recreation department.
He runs soccer ones. I think he does. field
I think he
hockey.
does
Some of the
field hockey
stuff,
too,
the
yeah.
actual teams will actually run their own clinics as a fundraising effort for their actual sports team. So that could be on his cap of AD. So that might be something that the
Cause I know he's
field hockey coach might use as a
on the rec
fundraising
too, so I
effort.
don't know. I'll ask Dan Forte if he does that under rec or. Okay. So any major content changes for FY23 goals?
Yeah, I like to, so I like it to say build on the current youth recreational soccer, basketball and softball program. Because it didn't actually make that clear in the actual goal.
What's that? I'm sorry.
So our goal next year would also continue our current, in building on our current programs. So I would like to say that and reflect that in the FY23 to say, somehow to say to build on our current youth recreational programs, because the only thing we have.
So do you
going
have
right
like
now-
a line that we can write here?
Yeah, I think I have it in my,
It's right here.
in my note one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bring back the adult recreation program
Yeah, that's
and then
already,
just add on and students.
okay, so we're gonna add the build on the current youth. Okay. So that'll be that goal. Okay, so in summary, right, so we're gonna change, we need to update the formatting, right, to be in line with the rest of the town.
So I'm just moving the contact information over to the left. Do you
Okay.
want, Adam, were you thinking the rest of this? So I know you can't see what I'm pointing at here. There's a page here that came through with like the location of the town office and a line and then Templeton budget department narrative down there at the bottom. Do you want all of that included on it? Do you think that should be on there?
I think if the commission wants to include it, that's fine. If they don't, that's okay as well. I know most of the other departments, justice, when they're coming in, are be okay with the chair.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Through the chair, the other departments that sent their budget narratives, is it including that bottom language?
As far as I'm aware, it's including the way that Holly had sent it out. So if that's part of the template that was given out, then that's what's in it. I haven't seen any crazy formatting, just extra categories is what we've been seeing lately.
So I would say yes, to include that, because right now, Holly, my executive assistant in justice, have been getting all of them as they're coming in.
Okay, so we'll just change it to the format that was sent out. So we made them, right?
I just want to ask Jess, are you comfortable with me putting your phone number on this?
Does it need to be?
well, it's for the, I'm sorry. It's for the town offices and stuff, so that when they're doing it, they go question to her, they can call her. I believe that's why, I think that's why. it
So
was-
if it's
everything's on
public
the template, I
information,
don't
I
know.
won't put.
All right,
I
yeah.
wouldn't put that on there if it was me, so it's up to you. Because this is going in, this is probably going to be posted, right?
Right, well, they have my email address. Can't they just email me?
I don't think. this
So
gets
we'll
pub-
put
this
a
doesn't
town
get
office
published,
number,
does it?
we'll put a town
Okay.
office number on here that can get in contact with you,
Does this go
All right,
pub-
thank you.
because they'll probably be posted.
it does? So all of them, their phone numbers are on it.
No, so we made a motion to accept the Templeton Commission narrative, right, to go along with our budget submission. So the changes we have besides, we're gonna change the formatting, right? We're gonna put town office phone number on there instead of Jessica's personal phone number. We have a couple, we're gonna revise the committee to say commission.
No, the community.
The only thing, and at the bottom, FY23, bring back field hockey clinics, and we're gonna add the line in there about building on the current youth recreation, soccer, basketball, and softball programs. So those were the changes that we made.
Did we make the change to the vision statement to actually reflect the work commission as well?
Yeah, so I mentioned that, yeah,
Okay.
both committees are gonna be replaced with commission.
Okay.
So let's take a vote to accept this narrative. Aaron will make the updates and send them out, right?
Yes.
Let's take a roll call vote on,
I did write a mission about where we send it. I wrote a motion on
about this package
that.
with the changes that we just made. So let's go around and make a roll call vote. Jessica,
Yes,
Derek,
Yes.
David,
Yes,
Aaron,
Yes.
I'm a yes. Joy,
Yes.
Candace,
Yes,
okay.
and
Unanimous.
I would like to make a motion that,
So does it have to do with the
no, it has
narrative?
to do with this. I like to make a motion to accept the budget narrative as amended for it to be adjusted by Jackie to comply with the requirements set forth by the town administration office, if any. So it's basically taking this and sending it to Jackie is what my motion is doing
So
when we're done with it. When it's
does
all
anybody
done and
second,
sent to go.
is anybody gonna second that motion? Because I thought we just voted on to,
I
send
mean,
it
were you supposed to
exactly-
directly, do you want us to directly send it to Holly, or do you want to go to it in case there's some corrections that the community service director will look at it and be able to make sure that everything's ready to go and send it? to
I thought we
Jackie?
made a motion to send it out to the board for a last approval, and then Jackie would submit it along to Holly.
Is that fine?
That's fine.
Are
Just wanted to
we,
make sure that was.
are we able to, if I send it out to the board, can the board in email approve it?
so I think
Jackie
we
can
already
send it out?
approved it with these changes.
these
As long as you
changes.
make these changes, right?
And I send it.
And
then
you
Jackie
send
can
it,
Send it to Holly.
Jackie can send it, we should be good.
Okay.
I would just trust
So-
Jackie to look at it to make sure it's compliant to what we voted on and make sure it fits the spelling wise. It's not
Well,
an
we'll all be
error.
responsible. I think we gotta take responsibility for ourselves on the board, so we'll
But
make
I-
sure that
I
it's in good shape before we
I
send it
don't think
over
we
to
can
Jackie.
vote like on the internet or.
Well, we
in
already, I
an
think
email.
if we do, if
I'll make
it's
the changes.
update,
and
made the
everything else.
changes based on how we vote, I think we'll be in good shape. All right, so let's move on to new business. Prepare for softball.
Oh, I did have one other thing though, because it came up in the budget narrative is the FY 21. I'd like to make a motion that if Jessica and Chris wanna, with Jackie to work on, but we're going to this book because, I mean, as a commission, I wasn't on it, so I wouldn't even know what to do in 21,
So,
the annual report, and that's like in January, right? There's like, we only in it like 1 year, like 1 year.
so was
we
there a
made the
call
cut.
for that information from us to get in there? Or is that based off of this?
Yeah, I probably didn't forward that to you, but it's due January 31st.
Okay, so let's,
Adam's office.
so it's not on the agenda for this meeting. Let's get it on the agenda for next meeting.
Perfect.
Whatever we need to send for the annual book.
She made a motion. Do we have to second and then vote on it?
Sure.
No, I don't think so. Okay, what do we have for preparing for softball?
I have an applicant who would really like to be the softball coordinator. If she's hired, she'd like to start skills and drills clinics in February and start doing registrations and everything. I like that gumption and that, let's do this, let's move forward. So I would like to set up an interview with her.
With Adam.
Okay, so what does she have to do? Just apply through the regular
She has
channel?
to go fill out an application and then we set up an interview. It's already been posted.
What's that?
We already. we
It's already
the job
posted,
was
so they
already
just have
posted.
to,
Oh, Holly already posted.
Yeah, it was
We
posted a long
posted
time
it.
ago. We posted that.
so
like
she
in
just has
December.
to apply.
Just sitting there.
Yeah.
apply through-
Okay, got a couple of them up there.
Yeah. Still-
Is there anything else for softball updates?
That's all I have so far.
Okay, so let's move to the next new business item.
So she was just asking us to approve as the thing so they can go to the person. Doesn't the person just apply?
I don't think we need to approve anything. Should-
Yeah, I don't
it's
think so.
the
Really. The
records
person
of-
just applies. right?
So we're moving on to the next
Yeah.
new business item, which is scholarship use, night ideas discussion.
All right, well, that, I would like to, for kids who want to play, but their parents can't afford to play, I would like to have some of a financial assistance for them. I don't know how much or how long, I don't know any of the specifics yet. I would just like to be able to have that be an option for our town. And I also want to be able to give the seniors who are graduating and going to college, like a little something, like a gratitude, like, you know, you played with us for this many years, or you played in ref, or you coached, or, you know, you were involved with your community, you were involved with our program, you were involved with our town's kids. I would like to help you succeed in life with my X amount of dollars. That's what I would like us to do.
So we'd have
What
to
do you
figure
think?
out what criteria is for those seniors for a college
So,
scholarship. We'd have to vote on it and put together a scholarship committee.
excuse me, I'd like to, I just want to say a couple of things because I do know about scholarships. Because I've dealt with this on another committee, other thing that I was on. First of all, our town, well, I just want to say this because I did mention it in the old boards. That's why I was asking questions about the town scholarship. The town does give out a scholarship. And we are a part of the town. We're part of the department, the commission, we're part of it. So our town, we are giving one out. So when you apply for a scholarship, you would say that you do all these great things, like if you were the an official, or if you were volunteering and free of your time, all this would be in your application. So when you're applying to a town scholarship, this would be a plus. I would assume that you're saying that you're doing the rec commission. So they are getting scholarships because they do help us, because we're a department and stuff in that. The other thing is that in my personal experience, I had to not be allowed to be at the meeting of the scholarship because I was sitting on it and I couldn't go to it because it would be a conflict of interest because I had a child that was asking to be on a scholarship. So that would take our commission, if we had like a year that we had all senior parents, say we did, we never know, they wouldn't be able to vote for this scholarship. It would, and it's not just, it wouldn't be just your own child. It could be a family, it could be your aunt, your uncle. You could be an aunt and uncle to somebody that was applying for it. So that would be a conflict of interest. So we couldn't actually vote for that. And because we would have to raise money for it, I would assume that we would have to have our own separate entity fundraiser because we couldn't take it from the other sports fees to do that. I just feel like the town already has a scholarship. And I think it's a wonderful scholarship, and I think that they can use us as part of the reference point to put in for that scholarship. When it comes to the fee, we talked about this in the summertime, giving a reduced fee. We had said during our meeting, I don't know if all of you were there or on our commission at the time, we talked about how we couldn't actually give an amount like Jessica just said, because we didn't know what these programs were actually cost because of all of our stuff is missing, all our documents. So we
Give an amount
decided
for what, I'm sorry.
to see, like, so if we want to do like schools do, like schools say, they use the reduced lunch program to do reduced budget to be in a sports fee. You pay like $25 or something. I don't know what it's going right now is, but it's $25.
Right now, it's free.
Yeah, so if you have free lunch and you do a sports in the high school, you get it for free. If you do reduced lunch, you would get a reduced price in it and so forth. And they fill out a form to do that sport to the AD of, that's the way they did it in the other school district I was in. So we would have to have a form that maybe we put out there. I don't know if we have to get the blessing of the select board to get into that, but that would be something we could do. But the scholarship, I feel like that's like a lot.
So, okay, go ahead.
I just think without getting too deep into it tonight, we need to get some guidance from the town accountant. I mean, the ski transportation is a perfect example. We need to know what we can and can't do with your accounts.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, I think it's a good idea, scholarships and what's it?
So as far as scholarship goes, I just graduated a senior in 2019 and I have a senior this year. And the school sends home a packet to the kids and they're all local scholarships. And it's there's one through the school, there's one through the Boosters Club, there's one through the town, there's one through the the parade, there's all these different ones, and it doesn't have to be anything significant. And I think that as a youth run, where youth driven, I think it's a great idea because there are so many kids that have volunteered so many hours reffing and coaching, whether it's $100 scholarship or a $50 scholarship. It's just a thank you for donating, you know, so many years back to the program. I think it's a great idea, and I'm 100% for it.
But how would we
Yeah,
do, I just want to say one thing. How do we do this if we have somebody who is a senior or has like, they're an aunt and uncle to.
So I think we could probably go down a whole chain of list of
You'd make a scholarship
conflict of
committee.
interest type things.
Right, and
I
our
don't
town
think we
already has that. That's the problem. We actually do have a
But that's a
scholarship.
scholarship for the town. This would be for the rec
We
committee.
are the
So,
town.
well,
Specifically. for
We're the
this.
rec committee. So what we could do is we could make a scholarship committee, which could be, you know, maybe it's not us, maybe it's the soccer coordinator, the basketball coordinator, the softball coordinator, the field hockey coordinator, and then maybe Jess or one or two of us. But we could make a committee that would be the scholarship committee that would handle the recreation scholarship handout.
So
We
I
have
think
to-
that the town gives out a scholarship, so I think that's a good blueprint of how it can be done, right, with the town accountant and the laws and stuff like that. So if we wanted to get a little bit more meat on this proposal and look into it, I don't think we need to go into a lot of what ifs and down a lot of rabbit holes tonight, but if you want to get some more information, if you're interested in it, Jessica, I'd say let's start piecing together a plan to get it done. How we're
Got
gonna
it.
fund looking into town and stuff. I think it's a good idea.
I agree with that.
We can do what ifs all night.
Mm.
And then the next thing was the youth sports night ideas. I guess to keep it brief, why don't we just discuss the basketball one that we plan on doing. Did you talk to, how far did we get in the plan?
So we talked with Chris Cassavant, the superintendent, and he is all for bringing back the youth sports nights for all sports. He's huge into this. He actually approached me at the all boards meeting and said, we need to find a way to work together more than just this, because, you know, his kids, we feed his kids, our programs do. So he was all for it. And my next conversation was with Brad Bond, who I will be meeting with shortly, just to confirm. And we would do, I think it was what was it? So the reason we picked January 21st was because that's the night that it's the all games. I think it's against Murdoch. The JV boys play, then the varsity girls, then the varsity boys. So all of them would go, they would wear their youth shirts. Obviously, they get them for free anyway, but I was gonna see if there was something that the school would do to recognize them while they were there.
I
So
love
this-
that.
Would this be, so this is something that you're asking us to vote on to accept, to doing a sports night and having you run it? Is that what you're asking us to make a, to?
I think we're just having a discussion right now, but if we need a motion on this, I don't think.
Well,
a
it's
big
just that
ask
we
from
never
the board,
discussed,
right?
we
So-
never like, it wasn't, this is the first time we're hearing it as a
So I
commission,
make
and
a,
I just want to make
so I'll
sure.
make a motion that we have a basketball youth sports night tentatively for January 21st, or I think we should let it, you know, between the AD and Aaron, if there's an alternate time. I don't think we need to revote if we're gonna have a different time. There's no, it's not gonna cost us anything except to get kids there, so I make that motion.
I second it.
Okay, so let's do a roll call vote. Jessica,
Absolutely.
Eric,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, unanimous. Okay, so meeting minutes upload status. So I think we already discussed this, but where we're at is I have to go through, I'll go through that other website. On this site, there seems to be some notes attached to it, but we're missing, I gave Joy a list of some of the ones that we're missing. We just approved the July ones today. We'll get those uploaded. So as far as our board goes for this fiscal year, we should be up to date after
I would,
we upload
I had,
July.
I
Hold on a
would
second.
say these are the ones that Scott listed on.
Maybe I didn't, I looked through all my emails and I didn't see them. And then, but like I said, I noticed them attached someplace else. So then we'll be up to date. And I just talked to the town clerk, like I said, we approve them, upload the approved minutes, and then she downloads them and puts them into the file for.
I
permit.
did have a question that I didn't get. 'Cause now it comes back to, so I'm kind of confused in the sense of, the first time we were talking about them earlier tonight, we were talking about it on the open meeting law compliance. Did we already send the letter out?
The letter was already sent out.
Okay, that's the part I didn't get, so I thought I'd just wait until we got this part to ask the question again. So the letter's all sent out, okay. And so, and then is David the one, are you the one, David, are you the one putting these minutes up for us? Because I know we voted for you to do our website. Are you the one adding them?
So
Who's
so at the
adding
beginning
them?
of the meeting, when we talked about the the open meeting law complaints,
Right.
I gave an update that I sent out the letter, right? And we gave us a status on which ones we were missing and an update on the information I got from the clerk as we approved the minutes. We send David the approved one, and he's responsible for uploading them to the site. And then once they're uploaded, the clerk's gonna download them and file them for us.
Okay,
So that's where we're at.
okay, I just wanted a clarification on that, thank you.
So for this fiscal, I'm just missing the two you voted on tonight. So when those get amended, just send them over and I'll put them up.
Okay. Cool. New business. Town administrator, questions and discussion. You have questions for us or you?
However you want
For
to
you?
do it, Mr. Chairman. If I can, I'll have Justice pass these out. Right now, as we discussed, I believe last time I was with you was and I believe the select board members maybe even mentioned it to you the night of the all boards meeting, but was for the special legislation, specifically Senate Bill number 2574. This actually passed town meeting. For the longest time, you folks were called Recreation Commissioners. Town meeting passed to make you Parks and Recreation Commissioners. And right now, the senator filed it. I received the email from her legislative director on November 16th. That's been filed on the town's behalf and has been referred to the Joint Committee on Municipalities and Regional Government. And that they'll keep me updated on any movement or additional information that they may need. So as you can see, this has been filed, presented by Senator Goby. It's been signed off by Representative Whips, Senator Comerford, and Representative Zlotnick. So this is a big step for the town on really moving the town forward in the sense of having a Parks and Recreation Commission that's been formally adopted by the town. And now we're seeking special legislation for that to have you as Parks and Recreation Commissioners, because as you know, the select board has been acting in the absence of the Parks Commissioners. So which this will give you more authority once it is passed by the general court. Does anybody have any questions on that?
This is super cool.
Yeah, I figured you liked the Senate bill and everything that's been, I think the last time the town did special legislation was when the Light and Water Department was, I believe that's the last time. There may have been another time, but it's interesting to see the process as it takes place.
So should we change the name on our narrative or not yet?
I wouldn't yet.
Okay.
Did you want to add something, Justin?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So I think that's a good question of when do you actually become Parks and Rec to explain how this process works. So when the general court votes on it, there's a second step that's going to happen. I believe at town meeting, there will be, I know this was discussed back and forth between advisory and the select board, but will there be a bylaw change coming up again on Parks and Rec that will be presented? And there's going to be a bylaw change with respect to community preservation, because your name has to change, so it has to change in the bylaw, and that can only change according to town meeting. Same thing with who is your representative on CBC. You're not the Recreation Commission at that point, you would be Parks and Rec. Your official designation and the authority you would gain as a Parks Commission under the Mass General Law, when this gets passed, would not take into effect until 6/30 of 2022. The next day when the fiscal year starts, you will officially, whoever is appointed by the select board at that point would automatically become Parks and Recreation Commissioners.
And how would that affect our budget? Because they
That-
voted in May.
So if I may, Mr. Chair. So that would not affect your budget because Parks has been under the DPW for several years now, considering the interesting conflict where we thought cemetery and parks was what we had, but that's not what happened upon further investigation during earlier in the last fiscal year. So technically speaking, and I don't know, we've discussed it in the office, but technically it'd be sort of a combination of community services with the DPW on what that's going to look like. I don't know what the town administrator has thought in terms of that. I know we bounced it around a few times, but you would be working a lot more closely with Mr. Sozik, our DPW director, moving forward on that.
And Jackie is smiling because she's going to enjoy the assistance of the DPW director working with you folks here. So
So
you can see that smile
We'll
on her
have two
face.
of them. We'll have two of them now, her and him.
They'll work together, so on it, and
So I just call them our supervisors. Makes it easier in my mind.
well, and it's
Don't know
interesting
what they're
because right
doing.
now Bob's been attending, or Mr. Sozik's been attending the select board meetings, and they've been getting instructions like with the sign that was donated by what IBEW. With them putting it up, they had to okay that. Granted, they still have to accept donations, but on the fields itself, you would be able to make decisions on placement and all that because you would have more authority over the grounds. But still, donations still have to be accepted by the select board. But that's with every department.
And was there the other night when they did their meeting, the select.
You can
board-
tell I have them do a lot of research though.
Yeah,
Right?
I can. Their meeting, they had said, they did like a fee, like you know how they did they did the other night, they did the fees and stuff.
Mhm.
Are our fees for the parks, they would be in that, whatever the select board voted, they would be in charge of the
You
fee.
would work with the select board on setting the town property use policies.
Okay,
Keep in mind, the town's never really had a formal policy. And this is something where we've worked together to make sure that that was codified within our policies. And it's something that gives the select board authority over certain grounds. There's been like this whole kind of approach and, for the longest time, Templeton had such a decentralized form of government. But it's bringing a policy that's simple across the board, and it can be found right on our website. So, and once these forms get done, we'll get those up as well. So that way everybody knows the process, the policies, and how we operate as a town. It's something that's ongoing for the longest time. The administration, even previously to me, we focused on financially getting the town on a better path. As you can see, we've done a significant amount, made a significant amount of progress with the fact that we have over $1.2 million sitting in our OPEX stabilization account. We've had significant improvements, and it goes down to town meeting at the end of the day. But in order to make these things work, we need to have the assistance of all the other boards and committees like the CPC in order to get the funding necessary. We have money in the CapEx stabilization account, which is why we're going to get that trackless machine, which we've already received the trackless machine coming to town to take care of the sidewalk sweeping, all that. So, I mean, all these services are important. And quite frankly, you folks will be putting together the budget. So, and I know there were some questions, and I'm jumping a little bit ahead here, but about whether you can use community services revolving funds.
right.
I want to take note, though, that anything you propose hiring wise has to go through our office. So whether it's going to come out of the budget or if it's going to come out of your community services revolving fund, I would want you folks to make a recommendation to me. Just so that way, when we do this, I'm not sure if you remember before the COVID hit, we were looking at doing a summer camp. And we had an idea where, we had our budget proposal here and it says majority of funds come from the community services revolving. So you'll see numbers here, but then you'll see zeros based upon the budget because that's coming out of the community services revolving fund. we've had that proposal before in the past, and unfortunately, the COVID hit. I mean, they had a nice plan put together. I'm moving forward with doing this summer camp playground. It's certainly an opportunity, I think, for the Recreation Commission. I sent out that study to all of you that was done by the Westfield State Masters Program. But I would really want you to research that and dive more into it on what you can do. I know this committee started off kind of a difficult predicament moving forward, and whether it be not having all the records or whatever it might be in your Facebook page. But I got to say, you came together quite well. You got the soccer program up and running. A lot of kids benefited from that, and especially a time when a lot of people were sitting in isolation for so long. It brought the community together, and I do commend this committee for doing that and getting kids out there and enjoying the outdoor sports that we have to offer. I mean, we are fortunate to have such great programs, and it's amazing for the small amount of money we put into soccer and how well it went for all. And you can be proud of that. And I look forward to now basketball and moving forward on that end. Did you want to say something?
Oh, I just wanted to say, touching on the community services revolving account, we've sort of gone to this conversation in terms of supervisory authority with, in terms of hiring different positions, but just so that the commission is aware, you always have operational jurisdiction over the programs that you choose to create. Don't want to say eliminate, but remove or to adjunctly support. You get an invoice for reimbursement. You can always use the community services revolving account for that. If you want to do a craft night and you have the funds for it, you can always have a craft night with volunteers at the senior center. You can do activities like that. Of course, when we get into paid positions that need supervision, that's when, as soon as you hit personnel, that's when you're moving straight over into the conversation with the town administrator at that point. But anything else, supplies, you need basketballs, you always have the authority to do that through, I
And a
believe.
volunteer program for the volunteers, if it's just all volunteer.
Correct, even if it, and even, I guess there's two accounts, there's community services revolving and the recreation donation account. I don't see how that would be a misappropriation to do supplies through the donation account, but that's gonna have to be something we talk with Ms. Huntbrand about. But it certainly is an acceptable allowance through the community services revolving account at any rate, so.
So I know that our big question with using the revolving account to pay the stipend, or my daughter, for instance, she reffed soccer and she made $10 an hour or $12 an hour, and she did 2 hours a week. So her check was $24, but then they took out retirement and taxes, and her check ended up being like $13. So I think that's where we were looking at, can we do that through the revolving account? So then it doesn't go through payroll here, so that those kids don't have to pay into retirement because they're making under a certain dollar amount. It's the same thing with the stipend where it was $500. Then you take out the retirement, you take out all the taxes, all the other fees, the stipend comes out to $300. So I think that's what we were looking at, seeing if we could do that from the revolving account instead of, obviously, the summer program, these not volunteers, but the employees of that will be making a lot more because it's over, 8 weeks. So that I would understand it going out of the salary account through the town, but the other little things where they're making very little, I think that was where we were looking at adjusting that.
Well, I mean, if I can, Mr. Chair. If you're looking at positions, whether the deductions, whether you pay it out of the revolving or you pay it out of the general fund, those deductions are going to be the same anyways.
Okay.
But keep in mind too, it's very important for our office to get your budget request, so that way we could go through your accounts to determine payroll wise, because the last thing we need is us to, let's say, use your revolving fund for a position, and then you have zero in that, and then we go into deficit, and then that turns into triple damages. So that's why it's very critical that you put it within your budget. We'll all work together. Usually I meet with the chair and Jackie and go over your budget proposals That way we can see, okay, well, this is what the commission wants. This is what we can afford, that, and that's my job at the end of the day. Because I'm also preparing a level funded budget for this fiscal year.
So there's no minimum amount of hours you have to work to pay benefits like that?
Well,
Like
benefits
I'm
are
all
over.
for the retirement account and stuff, but it's like when the fee, like 2 years, it's good to get the kids started on that, but in 2 years they take fees and you end up with $0, and seems kind of
Well, the
not even worth
Worcester,
it for the town for $3.
Yeah, mine
as
is
far as I know, the
voluntary.
Worcester Regional Retirement, you have to make at least 5,000 to be eligible for
it's
that,
got
or
some
there's
weird
another
things.
retirement that you may be speaking of that gets deducted. That's something I will have to talk to the accountant about.
Yeah,
check
because
that
that
for
should be like a
24
minimum of 20 hours.
to
a week or
13.
something.
Well,
Because if you're over 19 and a half, you become, I mean, with 20 hours or more, then that's when you're getting to benefits and everything like
Yeah.
that, full time.
It just surprised me. They took
No,
out
this was 2
retirement.
hours a
Yeah.
week, so it was like
But I think
$24,
Justice
they were
wants-
making like
Right,
13.
right.
Kind of, it's really crazy.
So I don't get benefits. I'm a part-time employee, but I can speak to, you're talking about how your daughter's getting OBRA taken out of her account. So OBRA is, and this is the interesting thing, several years ago, and I can't remember the date, Massachusetts passed a law that said it doesn't, if you are a part-time worker, you always have the potential to move up to full-time. So we are going to force you a certain percentage of what you make into this special type of retirement account. It's called OBRA. So that's what it goes into. After several years, if your daughter doesn't work for the town or work through municipality that puts it into that, she is eligible to take that money out. It doesn't go anywhere. It's in its own little, sort of call it its own little bank account. You can take it out. Now, I would have been eligible by this point to take that money out had I not taken the job that I just did. Because my brother worked several years ago for the town as an assistant swim instructor, and he just got the letter in the mail that said, hey, you're eligible to take this out because you've been out of municipal government for so many years. What you're also probably talking about is that Medicare and Medicaid are getting taken out as well on that sheet as well. That's always the case because we always do that through our offices, and you get that back when you file your taxes at the end of the
I
year.
think it was the Obra, and we didn't have a chance to pull it out because it got eaten up by
Yeah.
fees.
Yeah,
You can't get, it's a Massachusetts state law. You cannot get out of it. I would totally get out of it if I could, but that is not my
yeah,
choice.
so she just volunteered this year. She's like, it's not even worth the hassle.
Well, at least the good news is like eventually at some point you get the letter, right?
Well, if you work long enough, yeah. So I have a question about the, so you said there's gonna be some updates to the bylaws based on just the naming stuff.
It depending on how long it takes for this to go through the general court, but we're looking at some, I already spoke with Mr. Henshaw from CTC, and he's looking at some of the proposed bylaw changes he needs to do. But until this is passed, we're gonna take. it
So
one
who's
step at a
responsible?
time.
Because I'd like to see some more meat on the bones for our bylaws, right? It's very simple what the Recreation Commission is. I see in a lot of towns define some of the positions, some of the processes you have to follow and that kind of stuff. I mean, if it's just as much work to update it, to change the name, I was thinking you might as well go through at the same time and
That could be a good,
add some more stuff to it. So that way there's some continuity and that's right in the bylaws, what we need to do.
and that's an excellent thing that the Recreation Commission could, or if they become with the legislation, Parks and Recreation Commission, this board could refer a bylaw change to the select board to place onto the warrant for town meeting. And
Mhm.
once that, because you are right, I mean, the Recreation Commission bylaw is relatively small.
So, yeah.
And that could be certainly done. But we did do a bylaw adjustment for the recreation once this does take
Correct.
passage, which makes it, because you had like section A, 2 people, and section B, and then section C wasn't listed. So we just struck that language out to make it clean, where it's so many people from the town, bam, bam, bam. So, but those don't take effect until the special legislation.
If
is
those
signed off on.
bylaws are already approved and put in place,
Once.
contingent on the
Correct.
Man, the fact that excuse me, the fact that we're only 1-year commission. I find it difficult. I understand it, but at the same time, I find it difficult. I had a thing where I had to put in a term limit for something, and I felt looking at all the aspects of it, a 2-year to ask someone for commitment is a lot easier and is reasonable. And it makes sense for the program, we'll say the commission. It makes sense for the running of it. 2 years, 1 year is very difficult because you're retraining or re-upping the next commission that's sitting here. And a 2-year, I feel like, at least, the first year, I mean, I heard this, somebody say that, I think it was somebody who ran for select board. They said the first year, kind of like you're learning it, you're trying to figure it out, and then the second year you get it, and you're just like going. And with us, we just like, we could be turning around people and constantly, like, our records were gone, so it's like, it makes a big difference, when you don't have
That's why I'm saying we
that.
need to update stuff
Yeah,
like the bylaws and
definitely, I
have
agree.
continuity, so only if it's, so you can hit the ground running right from day one and
Yeah.
have all that stuff written down for you. Because I mean, we don't even know what we don't know yet until 6 or 7 months into it, so.
Yeah.
And just in terms of how bylaw changes work in terms of timeline, because it's very slow. Like I talked about, you don't become Parks and Rec until 6/30/2022. And that's if everything goes well. We don't expect anything bad to happen with the special legislation we put forward. Those bylaw changes that happened at fall town meeting won't apply until 6/30/2022 as well. And if you do a bylaw change at annual town meeting, it won't apply until 6/30/2023. So just be aware that any changes you make, there's approximately a several month to a several year sort of, I wouldn't call it a lapse, but sort of a running period until that gets approved, because all bylaw changes have to go to the Attorney General's office and then they stamp it and then they hit into an approval mode.
Yeah, but I would assume, I didn't know if we initiated that, so it sounds like we initiate or can inform that, say this is what we'd like and send it to them, right? But I
What
think we could,
do is, sorry, I don't mean to interject, Mr. Chair. What I can do is send out the proposed bylaw changes, so you're aware of them. And if the committee wants to take a look at them, they could always propose their own bylaw adjustments. And that could be up to this committee to refer. I know the select board's pretty good on if committees refer things. I mean, the advisory committee submitted something that they didn't even particularly care for, but they put it on the warrant to allow the people to vote on it. So they're pretty good at allowing it to go to town meeting.
okay. Anybody else have any questions for the, I think we're running low on time here, right?
Just that you have these, I thought you were reading that. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything else, Ralph?
No, that's about it. And we'll be sending out to all the boards and committees. We put together our office a PowerPoint on the whole open meeting law, because it has a lot of materials. And we'll be sending that out to all the boards and committees and commissions tomorrow.
Yeah, so I'm the person that created that PowerPoint and presented it to the Board of Selectmen. The Select Board was very much in favor of it, so we are going to go ahead. I'm going to send it under the town administrator's authority. It's just a recommendation document, and we're saying it now so nobody gets surprised when I send this out. It's going out to every single board, committee, and commission in the town, except for advisory, because they have their own orientation guide, but they're going to be tagged on it anyway. I'm sending it just to the chairs of your commissions, boards, and committees, and then they have the responsibility to push that forward to you, but the support staff is also going to get CC'd on that email so that they are not surprised that this has been sent out. This is not in response to any one thing that has happened. I know that we've talked about an open meeting law complaint at this meeting. I've been at a meeting that I'm on a committee on that we've talked about an open meeting law complaint. I know I am the person who has to send out all of the emails that say, hey, you haven't done your open meeting law paperwork.
I assigned them that. So
Yes.
if you get those, it's because of me.
Yeah, you get those because of him. And I also, from time to time, because we watch all of the meetings all the time for almost every single board and committee or commission that goes live on TCTV. If there's something irregular that pops up, that's usually when I, as the liaison to almost every single board, committee, or commission, have to send the email and say, hey, we got to have a chat about this. So that way none of you are just surprised this time around that that's what's going on.
So we send those out to quite a few of the boards, committees, and commissions. So
And that thing is just basically like, it's almost like a little training or links or something to tell us how we're supposed to do meetings right, or that kind of thing.
Well, just so that you don't break the open meeting law, there's a few little tidbits in there about how to do meetings, but it's not expansive. That is something that select board member Bennett has talked a lot about that he would like to put forward on his own, and we are waiting to see what that will look like over the next year or so.
Okay.
Because we're hoping at some point when people get appointed, we can give them a packet. And that gives them all the information right then and there when they're appointed and when, like, all the steps
Yeah, some
necessary.
emails back and forth on that. That'd be great.
Yeah, because I had to do all.
Jumpstart.
It's difficult as a new member coming in on a board and having no direction, and we're trying to make sure that the kids have recreation programs and that the kids are being involved and the adults are being involved, but when you don't know the rules, it's difficult to do anything, and it makes you not want to do anything. So
With any job you start, you get an onboarding packet.
so that would be.
Yeah, well,
Onboarding.
especially this committee. This committee went through a lot.
Well, I did my
So-
own research. I had to read them. I watched the YouTube videos. I went through the minutes that there were a little bit that were online for years past before I made the decision to sign the paperwork and then take the oath to be on this commission. So I and I looked at other departments and I went to different ones. I mean, I'm not sure everybody's like overzealous like that, but I just felt like if I was taking an oath, I need to know, what would be required, and I knew what different things when my kid in 2003 and 2004 and 5, when I sat there on the beach for this or that, for, in the gym for the rec department in those years, but I just wanted to see, so I did my own, but this will be nice that other committee commissions will have some kind of already stuff going, because it makes it a lot, it's a lot, especially if you don't have the time, if you don't enjoy watching something or want to do research on your own. This will be nice to have all that.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Adam, this isn't involving the rec committee at all, but you mentioned something about sidewalks. How you doing on South Main Street sidewalk?
I'm talking to our DPW director. He's been working on quite a
Yes,
few.
and he's not. Okay.
We'll be
Okay.
working with him soon.
This might be
I
a
had better
conversation
be.
for off camera.
Yeah,
But then there was another thing that I thought.
No, but there's our infrastructure. We have
narrow
quite a bit of issues. There's no question. The great news is, and you can mention the ARPA. We received notification from our auditor. And Justice, you want to kind of share it, because I know you've been kind of sending out the guidance, but
Wow, right. So our town auditor did, the select board gave approval that the town auditor would go through and see what amount of the ARPA funds could we use for revenue loss. Revenue loss basically is the difference between what we should have gotten last year from different types of levies, different types of, over a 4-year period, what we should have got on, various items, different licenses, different things that we should have gotten, revenue from. And because of what happened with the Massachusetts School Building Authority, we qualify 100% to use all of our ARPA funds for anything in the general fund, with 4 restrictions, things that this commission would not be looking at, but things such as debt, pensions. We can't use it from legal expenses, and I can't remember what the 4th item is. Transfer to reserves. Those are the 4 not allowable expenses, but basically at this point, there's all this conversation about, can you use it for infrastructure for this? Can you use it for, X, Y, and Z over here? We're beyond that. We can use it for anything within the what we would normally legally be able to use it for at this point, and the board has to simply decide what those projects will be moving
Is
forward.
that FY22 or 23?
It can be any of them, because we already have half of the allowance because of the way that the Treasury has set it up. We have half of the money now, and they're debating on what day it's going to be, but it's going to be sometime. It has to be done within the month of May. At some point, they have to do the second disbursement of approximately 1.2 billion. I wish it was a billion. $1.2 million to round out the 2.4 that we were promised to the state.
Now, can we use that for human weight?
if the select board approves it and this committee
Oh,
fills out a
wow.
form,
Forget that then.
well,
No,
I
you don't
think,
know.
I think the boards are pretty
I don't.
supportive of,
We don't know what they'll do.
because we did submit the concession stand bathrooms. I submitted that to the capital improvements committee. that's something that I'm gonna have the architect come in and do the specifications.
It's a survey, right? Like,
Well, without.
They
the
need to finish up all the
irrigation-
work, yeah.
no, but that's just for a study on it, right? Did they approve money for that?
You guys already, or you folks already have 10,000 for improvements to Gilman Way sitting aside. That'll be enough to cover having the specifications, the plan drawn up for that building.
That's what I'm saying. That's just the planning. That's no work.
But that's
Planning,
just for the
specifications.
building,
yeah.
right?
And then all you need is the appropriation after that.
But without an irrigation system, we're gonna keep spending thousands of dollars every year to reseed it. And now that should be done first. And I agree on the bathrooms too, but we've got to preserve the land first.
Well, and that was a heated discussion at town meeting.
I can well imagine.
It's not just reseeding them. I mean, you and I can speak from this. We have children that play soccer up there, and I have an ACL tear from that
Mhm.
field, my daughter. So
That's right.
the fields are more than just seeding them. They're concrete. They need to be looked at. But that's something that we as a board need to, if we want to bring that up, that's something that we need to fill out the proper paperwork and
have the proper,
go for it.
have the proper structure for it and plans for it, because I think that's the reason why it failed. Because there wasn't any real details on how everything was gonna get paid for and what it was like, did they need a well? Is the sewer department
No.
gonna bring up a sewer line? All of that, it just wasn't detailed enough. And that's why I think, I mean, I was sitting at the meeting and everybody kept on getting up. And I think that was the one thing that just kept on coming back, that it didn't say, 230. It was like, well, what is, it was like a blanket amount, and it didn't really give you any structure of what it was for. And I think that was what that's why I think most people didn't vote for it. I think
That's
it
why
just
you need
needs
the
to
money
be-
for the specifications to get a detailed plan put together.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think at this point, people want to see, even the select board want to see that concession stand, the bathroom's finished up.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
sitting there far too long. And I think at least phasing in that project and getting to these things slowly but surely, I mean, at least we're getting it done. It's happening as soon as possible. Town meeting didn't vote for it. That's the will of the voters that showed, or residents when they showed up. It was probably one of the most heated
Yeah. it was-
topics at town meeting. I remember that evening.
Yeah. something.
And quite frankly, I think a lot of it's the plan, the presentation, and the people didn't want to vote for it. And I can't speak to any further because they're the legislative body of the town, and select board put on the warrant, but
It's not like we can't, if you go and get all the numbers and figure out what it's gonna cost and give another, and they get another warrant and another round, it's not like it can't happen. It's just, you have to figure out how is it gonna be funded. I think taxpayers and residents, I mean, we're all residents, you wanna know how things are gonna get funded. You wanna know the specifics of a project before you make a vote. I mean, because it's a lot of money. I mean, $230,000 is a lot of money not
Mhm.
having details. So I could totally understand why people didn't vote for it.
well, Joy's gonna stay
not like
on
we
until
can't
it's
do it
done.
again.
So
You better, well, I don't know, if it keeps going like it is right now,
Well, the
that's another
bathrooms-
thing. And we can do without the bathrooms because we have the porta potties. But like the kids getting injured on those fields because they do need to be
Well, that's, I think something.
fixed, that, it's not safe for the kids. And nobody seems to be thinking of the kids.
Okay, so thank you. I guess let's
Thank you very much.
see if we can move this on a little bit. Update on town all boards meeting. So I went to Aaron, and Candace went to and Jackie was there, went to the all boards meeting. I wasn't expecting to speak, but I gave a quick update on, how we're bringing the programs back this year, soccer and other things. I don't want to gloss over it, but it is recorded on TCTV if anybody else wants to take a look at it. So.
There was a recommendation, what's her name? Cindy, is her name Cindy Shea? Cindy Shea had she asked me to come back to the senior center to talk to the seniors about what we do with the Recreation Commission. And I told her I would love to do that because I love that kind of stuff. I says, but I didn't think it would be appropriate for me to say yes without asking if anybody else would want to do it, or our chair would want to do that, something like that. But they have request was, I guess what you say, from Cindy Shea, that we would come and talk about what we do to the seniors because they love those kind of speeches. And then you talk about your department, your program in the town, and
Well,
you
then
know,
go do it, right? We have to make a motion for her to go do it, or can she just go do it?
I don't
Go
think
do
you
it, yeah.
need a motion.
And I'd also ask what we can do for them too, right?
right, to see if there's
Yeah.
anything rec wise with them, that'd be wonderful. No?
Okay, so do we have update on the tree lighting ice rink?
Well, hold on. So you're gonna go do it, Candace? Are you agreeing to go do it?
Yeah, I can go talk, I can set up something with Cindy to
All
go down, talk to them one of these days.
All right,
Yeah.
excellent.
Enjoy it.
All right, tree lighting. Go, Chris.
So was that gonna be you, Jessica?
No,
I
I
went-
was not there. I was home with the vid.
So
Yeah.
Candace
I was
went.
at the tree lighting at, and I won't say that park's name right, I totally cannot pronounce that. I call it the Houghton Park. So I was there, so everybody else was, but I guess the whole town turned out for the big end at the center. And then I was down there with, the band came out and, they played, for us and, the tree was lit and, the gentleman who does the ice skating rink, him and his family came out and they spoke on, the ice skating rink and how, you know, how it came about and stuff. So he gave like a little speech for us. Oh, and there was the gentleman, who were they from, Justice? Do you remember,
Oh,
Hunter?
goodness.
So they had the guns that.
Terry knows that. I can't say that.
They shot off these I don't know if they're muskets or like Minutemen, and they came, it was like, and they shot a couple of shots off before they did the tree. So it was a nice time. And then they got to see they have outlined the skating rink. So we got to see that. Obviously, the gentleman said that until you get freezing weather, you can't. And then the town fire department is gonna pour the water when it gets freezing, and they'll put the liner in, they'll put the water in. So that was kind of part of his speech, tell us how it was gonna work. Then we all moved, and then I decided we all moved to the Baldwinville, to the center. We went there. The American Legion came out. They gave us some donuts and some cider and stuff, and we did something with them. And Tim came out from the select board for that end of it, and he talked. And then we lit that tree, and the band was there too. And then we moved on to the senior center, and we did the movies and stuff like that. But all the way, once they hit the park at Houghton, I had the candy canes, I gave them out, I moved into the next day with the candy canes, and I went along with that. It's just a wonderful thing to see the community come out, and if you see the PCTV video, they did the Jack Frost Parade, Terry, the selectman, came out. I mean, there was a little thing, they forgot the sound system, but she made do with her voice, and did the different locations too. But it was a wonderful time, and they talked about possibly putting together some kind of committee or something and ask different departments like ours to maybe go on it, to plan it for next year, to do the tree lighting, the Jack Frost Festival, going to the different villages to light the thing and putting something together. So I thought it was a nice time.
Okay, very good. Okay, so item number 7, grant opportunities research.
Okay,
So
so
was this, was it?
that was me. So the grant opportunity research is because I don't really know, I don't know what the select board are doing, or the offices are doing on that. But the Governor Baker's office in summertime or some point, they put out, because there was a lot of incidents of drownings and stuff. It was terrible. And so they announced that a new funding opportunity to support free swimming and lessons across the Commonwealth. And I guess it's a grant program. I got a couple of things on it, but I didn't get the official grant, like what the document looks like, but and it's just about, and I think we might qualify for it, our rec department. And I didn't know if this was something that we could maybe send to possibly to the administrative office, or to see if they can look into it, and maybe something that could be, if it's something that's feasible, maybe the select board or something can decide if they want to let us do a grant on that.
So if there's, I would say if there's grant research opportunities that you find, let's write it up, vote on it here and send it along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through the chair, what are we looking at for a dollar amount?
It doesn't say, it's just like a couple of articles and it talks about it. I mean, it does say, it says, makes available $475,000 for nonprofit and private entities to apply for funds. I think this article says, but it's just talking about that they did, I don't even know, like, if it's something that's gonna be feasible for us. But I just would like to see, like, maybe we send it to your office to see if you guys can look at it, and then if something that the select board, because I know that they're actually responsible for grants and stuff like that. If it's something that, I mean, because if there'll be money that our town could get that could help with the swim program, it would be wonderful. I mean,
But we can champion that, right? Do it up and send it off to you, you know, get some.
Send it to our office for research. If I can also say.
So you'll do the actual research and the grant writing if we point you, or you want us to do something?
We just handled a couple, we actually just got a cemetery software grant of over 33,000. Not too long ago from Community Compact. They actually just signed the documents with the state just before this meeting. But if I can, we also are working on, I know Justice filled out the paperwork. If I can through the chair, just want to let them know what grant you're working on with Maya.
Right,
for
so,
that, for the parks.
right,
the
so,
town hall.
so right now I'm sort of back and forth with the committee and one of the executive assistants for Maya about a grant we are trying to improve for the employees and for the residents the park. So we're trying to get some infrastructure for that, very basic things like a bike rack, some different benches and park equipment and stuff. But that's free money that if we get that, we don't have right now. And those places desperately need more locations where you can sit and where you can actually enjoy being out there. That's something that we're kind of going back and forth on right now. I'm pretty confident that it looks pretty good right now. There's just a few questions that I have at the moment, but that is something that we've been working on. The board granted approval for us to go for that back in, it was October 13th, I remember. It was on the October 13th meeting of the select board. Typically the process is that the board would designate the office to work on that grant and to work on a grant, and then we would fill it out and coordinate directly with whatever scholarship committee or whatever grant writing committee would approve that and go through a process of either submitting it or a multiple submission process.
So if you have any ideas and you want us to review it, send it to our office, because I have authority to, under our policies, to go for a grant of 5,000 or less. Anything above that threshold have to go to select board to get them to sign off on, but I will delegate, either I will do the grant or someone of my staff will.
Okay.
Um,
Well, that would be nice, because I think that Terry and her helpers are underpaid terribly. And they're paying the same thing now as they did when I was there. And that was, I don't know, 20 odd years ago. So it's just not fair for them.
well, there hasn't been any supplies given to the recreation learn to swim program in years. They don't actually they haven't gotten anything in a very long time. Terry's asked time and time again for this committee or commission over the years. The only thing they've ever gotten is $100 to do a pizza for their volunteers. They have a part of the pocket. They have volunteers, and they've gotten that money to make a pizza thing at the end of the thing. That particular program has two levels. One's the instructor, and then you have the two assistants, because you can't run it without at least one or two assistants with them, because they can. Right, because, but then what Terry did was wonderful, is she incorporated volunteers. So the kids who were still in the actual levels of swimming, they were at, level 1 through 6. They were still in the process of getting their final things. They help volunteer, which help instill the swimming with them. So some of it, when they help with the little ones, it instills what they learned when they were little. So it brings it all back. So yeah. It would be
So I
nice
would
to
say
get some
that,
more money for that
I don't know if we
program.
need a vote on this, but I would say that if you find grant opportunities that are for something that we have approved goals or already approved to do,
Right.
then just send it and keep Jessica, copy her on it and
Okay.
send it off to Adam's office to get it done.
Okay.
And then we'll just remember to mention it at the next time for everybody's benefit. you know?
So everybody else too, if you guys come up with cross something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anybody, if you see something, just send it on, right? Keep Jessica in the loop
It'd
and,
just be nice to try to get some extra money for.
I don't want to slow things down. I don't think we need to come back and, if it's approved thing that we're, now if you want to, be able to motorcycle park or something, maybe we should talk about that. But if it's something swimming or basketball, something we already,
Yeah.
did I say?
For the swimming, she has no equipment to speak of.
Is that okay
She's
with you,
using
Jessica?
All of the boards that I had. She has
Yes.
my
Yeah, I think
boat
we, yeah,
and she has my canoe.
yeah. I think we
She
can talk
needs
about that
things.
when we go through, because at the end we have the budget, so we can go through that part of the budget.
So on to the next item, number 8. So I thought we already voted on this. So
No,
if we voted to use,
no,
what's it, Unipay. So if you want to, if.
I
don't
like
know.
to, I like
Hold on a
to,
second.
okay.
So if we want to make a motion to vote on this purchase, if we don't get a second, because I thought we already voted on, it, then we're going to move on.
Okay,
Yep.
so first I would just want to say something real quick.
So do you
okay?
have you have a
Okay,
motion
so
to?
first off, I just want you to understand, okay, so Jersey, I just want to.
So we got to move on, right? So if you want to make a motion to.
Okay, I'm gonna
vote
make
on
a
the
motion
purchase?
first, but I need it to be said what it is, okay? So jerseywatch.com is a service of, and the plan will be using the registration, player pass, registration form, so waivers and forms will go through it, we'll be using that part of the function. We'll be using the website part of the function, so the coordinators can have their own website page on it. We're gonna, if it's their teams and their schedules, they can use it, and they can send texts and emails to that, so it'll keep all their documentation in it. So all of our coordinator programs would be underneath the blanket of this one
Right, so we
platform.
had
But
this
the Unipay,
presentation before, right?
no, the thing about it is, and I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah,
no, we
had
didn't
this-
just, I just, please,
So we-
please, no, understand this, okay?
Candace, we've
Please.
already discussed this.
Yeah,
so
we
No,
already
we
just
didn't
need to make a
discuss,
motion to discuss it.
so I just
Because
wanna
we've already
say.
So we got-
discussed this
so-
and voted it down.
I just want, but I want to say that Unipay is a separate entity. It is not the same thing. Unipay is what you pay for the services. If we did paper, we could still have Unipay, and Unipay, they could go on there and make their payments, and they could do a paper registration. This is basically, I'm asking to use only the services, and Cully has sent me a thing. I've been waiting since, that's why I'm saying, please, I waited, I sent this out to Holly back.
So I'm asking,
I
as the
sent
chair,
this-
I'm asking you to please make a motion. If we get a second, we'll
Right.
discuss and vote on it. If
Okay.
not, I thought this was a
Okay.
closed issue that we voted.
Okay,
on
I just
in the
wanted to
past.
say that I sent this to Holly back and because we voted.
So
for
do you
me
have
to
a mo-
do
is there a
in
motion
October.
on the
Yes, I
floor
have a
to-
motion. I will make the motion. Just 1 second. I have to get to it. Okay, I also have it opened right now in the, if anybody wants to look at it on my Kindle Fires, it shows how the actual thing looks, if you like to actually look at it, to go into it. So the motion is, I'd like to make a motion to have Jackie Prime purchase the annual plan of jerseywatch.com for recreational, for the recreational commission use, recreational coordinators, instructors, and directors to use as an expenditure in the community service account. And I believe the fee was $319 to use as an expenditure for us. I had a better motion, but that's the one I have in front of me. I wrote it better, but I guess I didn't print it better.
So do we have a second? Anybody on the phone? Anybody that's muted?
And I'm just gonna say one more thing, that the basketball coordinator can currently use it. He have all access to be able to put his own stuff out to the public. That we are not able to do that for him, he has to go through us and we have to micromanage somebody who's being paid through the actual town. So he's a town employee that he is not able to communicate on his own platform. And this Jersey Watch will give him the ability to have his own page for basketball and to put up his schedules or any documents, like if he was doing the photography, he could
Okay,
put
so
that up.
I hate to cut you off, but
And
so there's a motion on the floor. I don't hear a second. I mean, we talked about this a couple times. I think we
We did.
voted in the past to use Unipay that like we did in the past. And I thought Derek was going to meet with the treasurer to customize that for our purposes.
I
And
was,
I would
That is
say-
gonna happen in January, yes, we did vote on this already.
Alright. Okay, so we voted on it. We're gonna use
no,
that.
actually, I was actually and I just want to say this, I was asked in October to ask the town administrator to review this, okay? I finally got the documentation. When you talk about Unipay, if you just look at my paper that I've actually sent you guys all out there too, the email, if you look at it, okay? If you look at it, it discusses it. This is what I've been saying since the time I've talked about online platforms, okay? I've been talking about this. Unipay is a separate entity. Every town,
So we understand.
every
so-
recreation
so we
department
gotta
in this
move on
town,
to
in
the
the
next-
state
we got-
uses
Okay, we're gonna move
Unipay.
on to the next order of business if there's not a second for this motion. I'm sorry. I think we voted to use Unipay and the customization, and I would say we, if it doesn't work for softball, then we can revisit this for the fall sports or some other alternative. We can revisit this after softball.
I feel bad for the coordinators because we're pigeon-toeing them and not allowing them
Okay, so
to have a
we're
platform.
gonna
of
go
their
on
own
to
do something.
discussion item number 9. And I don't know if this needs to be a vote or not, because, what's it? I don't know if we need to vote on this or not. I don't know if we have a rule or if there's a lot. I mean, I get emails from, is that for, okay.
Well, if I can say, the way that this is, I actually talked with Jackie about this. I'm very reluctant on using private Gmail accounts.
Hmm.
Because with Templeton Frisbee, I mean, I know this is just example at Gmail. I'm one to have templetonma.gov. That way the town
Yep.
has access to it. And for whatever reason, if, because we have an IT that makes sure that all that information stored as a public record.
Yep.
And I just think if we go down a Gmail path, it could open up public records issues for us moving forward. I'm very, I want to make sure everything's preserved and as a public records access officer for the town. So I would urge this committee, everything to go through recreation at templetonma.gov and to keep it at that. The chair needs to forward that information. I believe the chair has access to that. Last time I checked, Holly gave that information over.
Yes, every time something gets sent to templetonmass.gov, it gets sent to me. Well, not
Okay.
templetonmass.gov, but to the rec thing, it gets sent to me.
So basically, all those records are stored on the
So there's
recreation.
a retention period you have to have. There's all kinds of rules.
There's all kinds of rules, and if you get rid of it, you have to actually apply to the Secretary of State's office. And there's a certain retention schedule so there's a lot of rules on public records. So I would.
So what
urge-
about service accounts as far as other ones beside, like more specific to like basketball that the directors can have, Templeton, Mass, is that possible, or is that just gonna be?
That's something I would want to talk with my executive assistant about.
I mean, we're talking about a handful that's specific, if that way.
Well, soccer created their own their own Gmail account, and basketball has their own Gmail account.
It's about, okay, so if you're a coordinator, okay, so if you're, I just want to say, if you're a coordinator and you want to put out your information, okay, you don't want to put say I have mine, Candy something, and that's my personal one, but I don't want to use that as a coordinator. I want to have a separate one so I can just do that. So I make up this is what I'm saying, you make something up like what she's talking about. And you go out there, it is shown in the ethers that we all see it, right? So they feel like they can't put that out to the public. So meaning if the coordinator is being hired by the town, right? So they're the town employee. Do the
Candace,
town,
they have their own emails. I
right?
have the passwords to them and stuff.
But
So they
Jess,
have-
So
do
you're
they have
saying you want them to go through the town?
they should, that's what he's saying.
That's what
He's
he's
That's what
saying.
my
is we
question
should- we
was,
need to go
that
through
is
the
Because I knew
Right.
these were gonna start surfacing and I wanted to have a clarification. Does the coordinator, when we hire them, do we give them a government one? So that basketball has their own one and soccer has their own one and swim has their own one.
So recreation, so everything should go through the recreation page, and I just asked Adam about creating other service accounts that are specific to the sports program, and he's gonna look into that and get back to us, right?
Because there is
Excellent.
associated with that. I
Oh,
know
is there?
There is, and I don't know the amount off the top of my head, but it does come with a price.
Is it a one-time or an annual fee?
I believe it's annual. if I Remember correctly, so that's something that I want to be able to have, whether it be softball at templetonma.gov. With whatever, let's say you have 4 programs and you have an email for each one.
Yeah.
That way, let's say you have your softball director 1 year, then somebody else takes over, at least they'll be able to have that email
Yeah,
at the end and can preserve those records.
What if you just had one that was for the sports programs themselves, like a coordinator at templetonmass.gov, just one that the softball, soccer, that they have access to during their, they should only use during their, soccer program time, basketball program time.
Oh, so where the password gets changed over to each person, I think that could be done, and I would want my want that done through our office.
Yeah.
So whenever we do the hiring, we would also be able to reset the passcode
Mhm.
Yep.
and then give it over to the next person.
Yeah.
So we'd be able to
It'd be
keep
one,
track of
yeah.
that.
And then it's only one email that if there's a fee tied to it, it's only one extra email that the town's having to pay for.
I think that's a good idea. So that's something I think we could do.
Okay.
Yeah, just like I said, I just seen that the coordinators are starting to do it. And I don't know if they bring it to the public, like, if they want to have a question for basketball, it shouldn't be the chair's responsibility to answer everything. She's not working, she's not hired from the town. It would be the coordinator for that sport, and they should be able to have.
So I think we got
access to
this
that.
solved, right? We'll get back to this on the next thing and pick it up with
That's something
with
Jackie and I
softball.
could work with
Yeah.
Holly on.
Because we couldn't obviously give them the password to the recreation because we get open, some town emails in there. We probably wouldn't want the coordinators to see. Even though it's a matter of public record. We want to know who's answering those emails. That's Jessica. Okay, so we're, the next item. The big one, FY23 budget request.
Mhm.
What's it?
So I don't know
Okay,
why the budget's
Yeah.
due to the town administrator's office by January 3rd. So I don't know how you want to do this. It's,
So I think, like you mentioned, usually get together with the chair and Jackie and you to go through the budget.
yeah,
The review
The
process.
review.
Usually they have everything submitted to me and then we go through the review for everything. I mean, I believe, as far as I know, you said the chair already worked on something.
Yeah,
Jessica sent around a draft, yeah, but I don't know how your board wants to,
So in the past, it was the chair that just worked directly
I
to,
believe so.
Well-
to do that budget.
actually, the email I got today, I did the numbers, it's over $17,000. And then plus with all these other things, and it doesn't actually understand the swim program at all based on this budget.
Well, I went off the budget of 2014.
Actually, I have, so I just wanna, I'd like.
So Jessica, you're the chair. How do you want to handle this, the budget submission? I don't know if we did this like this in the past. I think it's up to you, right?
Okay,
What do you think? Like, talk to me.
the last 3 years, I have the books that they have the budget with the
Hold on a
town
second.
voted for the last 3 years, and I just
Jessica.
wanted to point something out about it.
Jessica, how do you want to handle the budget stuff?
Since it's my first time, I'm gonna need somebody to assist me because I want to do it right.
So is that something you want to work directly with Jackie on? Is that something we can do?
Would Jackie be okay with that? Would she be my point? I don't want to
Well,
add more to her. Candace, what do you have to say?
I have a couple questions, and I just want to talk about the budget a little bit. I don't want to rush this meeting down, because I understand it's late, but I have to say these things, okay? So I have the 3 books here, okay, and I went to the town meetings, and this is what Paul, I was so upset that I voted for this and didn't know what I voted for. As a resident, I am so upset about this. Okay, so I know we have a level funded budget this year, so which makes me concerned about getting the swim program together. But, and in 2000, in this book right here, in 2019, the FY budget was $9,656. This included the $500 for each coordinator, and included $500 that we used. It's on the back page of what Jackie gave us when we first became
How much is it?
commissioners. It was $500 for each coordinator, and then the
No,
back,
total, what year was it?
$9,656 for the budget for 2019. This is the part that gets interesting. Ready?
Right.
So in FY 2020's budget, our budget was $9,750. This would include the swim instructors, everything, the coordinators for those programs. And then on the back page, it has what the fees were. That would take out the referees and so forth. This is the one. So in FY 21, our budget was increased by $15,250, okay? So, and it concluded this. This is the question I have. Our current budget for FY 22, and this is what upsets me, and I actually probably voted for this because I didn't notice it, and I'm upset by
So how
this.
much was the
Our
total?
current budget for
Round
F 22 is
budget?
$7,549. The swim program was cut out of that budget. Okay, so that means that during a pandemic, our budget for our swim program, nobody knew if we were gonna bring it back. So we could have never brought it back in this summer, because we only have $7,549. For the 2 years prior to, we get 9,000 or something, and yes, granted, our numbers are low. The going rate for a coordinator in the local area is about 700 to 750 for a sports coordinator. So we are a little bit low. We haven't adjusted that for a long time, if you look at the different ones. But again, our select board members that sit there get $500, and their job is a lot more advanced if you want to look into that too. So I mean, but what upsets me is that the swim program was cut out in our FY22 budget. I also looked at Jessica's proposal, and like I said, it's over $17,000 with training. We also had training for swim program that came through the actual town management or the fire department that actually paid for that. So we didn't have to pay for that stuff. Yes, granted, our coordinator to have Red Cross, they have to be certified, and we would have to talk about doing that. We all discussed that we would do this in January, but coming up with a budget proposal, I would like to see at least the 9,000 something dollars stay and do that, and then build on
I
maybe
guess I don't
the
know.
rec
So what's
coordinators and
the-
stuff can get,
I
for
guess I don't
soccer and so
understand
forth,
what
get a
the-
little bit of assistance and hop
what
up.
I guess I don't understand what the issue is.
My issue is that $15,000 was asked to be in our budget for the FY, whatever one it was, and that was $5,000 for FY21. And that last year, so I don't know what this extra stuff was
So wait,
for,
hold on a
but
second.
the
hold on a
but the
second. FY21
7,000
was how much?
FY21 was $15,250.
Okay.
And then they go, and then our budget for this year, for FY, which we're currently in, has $7,549. We've never been that low. I have all the budgets listed right here from 2005 to current. Yes, the swim program was stopped in 2015 for a short brief time because our
So
town had
what's
some
the
issues.
concern, that it's gonna be a level budget this year?
It's a level budget this year. And so whatever
it's a
proposal we put
level
in has to
it's
be,
a-
we
hold on a
can't be
second.
crazy. We can't
It's-
put crazy stuff in.
What's crazy?
Well,
So hold on a
but
second.
I was emailed
So,
today.
What? So,
Well,
It's a-
okay, that was a mock thing. I was showing you what I was thinking about doing. Like, I was looking into trainings. That's what I came up with. Hence, the title of it was mock. Not
Right.
set in stone. It's just saying, this is what I was thinking. This is what I was looking at.
Right, but you're gonna be the person working on it with your mock thing with Jackie. I mean, I'm sure.
Right,
Jackie-
well, I'm sitting here with you guys discussing it.
Right.
And then I'm
and
gonna go with Jackie. So this is what I was thinking. What
It's
are
a
you
level
thinking?
town
Chris?
budget,
What
right?
needs to come out? What
So
needs
my-
to go in?
Want to make sure that when the budget is like, if she's gonna work with, Jackie, that I would recommend that we stay with what we did for those two years before we went up to 15,000, that's reasonable. And then putting in maybe a couple of assistants for each, because I believe that the soccer,
So
the
hold-
basketball and
hold-
so forth needs assistants
so
too.
hold on a second. We have FY23 goals that include all these things, right? So if we ask for the town budget, right? There's money that, some of this stuff is self-sustained, that comes out of the revolving account, right? I don't think we have to account for. This is just budget we're asking the town for to include in the general budget, right? There's, we can find alternate funding sources like grants and stuff, we don't have to, everything doesn't have to come out of the town budget. Like he says, we designate where it comes from, right? Soccer, right? 500, to pay for soccer,
I
that's
just want to make sure
self-sustaining,
swim
right?
class goes the way it was before. I mean, it's not even.
We all do, and that's one of
Well,
our
$15
goals.
an hour for counselors swim class isn't that. First of all, the volunteer kids do not get paid. They would never get paid because they're still in the program. And then the two assistants are very needed. And the swim program was, this mock-up is $1,000 for the coordinator. The coordinator would actually now get a dump down because they were $1,400. And I do like I said, $1,000 for a rec basketball coordinator isn't even within the other towns. The other towns are 700 to 750. I just would like to stay within our perimeters and be in a level funded budget. I want to make sure that we get swim class. I don't want to scare away whoever's making the decision, like, oh, rec went rogue with their budget or request. I just want to stay within and some of this stuff, like this training stuff.
Hold on a
some of
second, I
that
think Adam has something.
The town
Adam
can
has
actually,
something to
we
say.
actually
Go ahead,
do
Adam.
through our town services.
So if I can say, you notice from fiscal year 2021 that was brought up. That was the year that was proposed for that summer camp program. And there was out of the town with budget was the recreation activities coordinator, which came to be $18,939. The town was going to fund 7,500 of that. And that's why you saw such an increase that year, with the majority of the funds coming from the community services revolving account for the program, the fees that would come in. So you see that 9,000 that was brought up, 9,000, then that spike.
Right.
And then the COVID hit. And that's why you saw such a significant decrease, because nobody knew what was going to happen at that time. And then with all the distancing and all the CDC guidelines, that's where the decision was made, where the swimming program got taken out of the budget. And then all the other requirements that I think the chair brought up previously was with the all the certifications necessary to have that program and adequately provide it to the town. The question ultimately becomes, because the swimming program, we never charged for it. So because we never charged for it, it becomes an issue for the revolving fund. So positions that, let's say, if you wanted to have your swimming director, but your soccer director, you could have that money come out of your revolving fund because you actually charge for that. So that could be something that gets sent to the community service revolving. The soccer program, the swimming program is a little bit different because we're not charging for that. So that would have to come out of the taxation because you're not bringing in fees to cover the expenses.
Okay.
Does that bring some insight?
Yeah, I'm just worried that because we had all this, and then this, like I said, there's no meeting minutes, and I've watched the YouTube, and I couldn't put that number together with anything tangible with the meetings you guys had or anything. So not having our budget, like us doing a meeting on it, and with Jessica and stuff, and working through it, especially this year for us to understand it, I feel like we get a disconnect of sitting on this commission, not understanding what it is that I want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. That a swim program doesn't get cut and then people don't know about it. And I'm not blaming anybody for that. I'm just saying that I feel bad because I sat at the meeting and I voted for the budget for the town. So I feel like I personally cut out swim
So if we
class.
get back to like the content of this budget, is there something, go ahead, Aaron. Is there something about the content of this proposal?
So I have a little bit of issue with the content of the proposal, and I know that this was just a mock-up, so
Yeah.
I would like to propose like basketball, the fact that there's $1,000 for the coordinator and then 500 for each assistant. I'll go back and say it again. I've run soccer in this town, and my husband and I ran it together, and then we ran it with another couple, and there is one, pay, and that pay is split among how many ever people run it. So to have 1,000 for the coordinator and 500 for each assistant, that's the coordinator saying that he can't run it alone, so he needs more people, so that it should be one coordinator fee and they can divide it up however they want. I don't think that basketball needs,
I like that.
soccer doesn't need an assistant. I think it's, you make the stipend, and if 5 people decide they're gonna run it together, then those 5 people split the stipend. So we can look at, I'm still speaking, so we can look at it that way. I'm not saying that $1,000 is too much or too little. I think that if we're going to, as a board, pay a coordinator $1,000 to run a program, we shouldn't have to handhold as much as we did this year with the programs. Granted, they're just coming back, but as a person that has run programs in this town, I did not have the amount of handholding that we did as a committee this year. So if this is going to be a paid position, we need them to do their job. So it might take 2 of them to be able to do it, or 3 of them to be able to do it. So we have to be more specific with these coordinators that this is their job to do, and this is how much the pay is. And if there's going to be 4 of them, then they all need to apply, and then they split the money. I also know that I was the treasurer of the rec committee for many, many years, and I did the budget. And when I was doing the budget, it was significantly higher than it is now. And playground was pretty expensive. You had to pay a coordinator, you had to pay an assistant coordinator, and then you had probably 5 or 6 employees that work there as well. So this $9,000 is barely gonna cover a coordinator. So we have to sit down and we have to break down what this is gonna be. How many hours a week is it gonna be? What is the base pay gonna be? If it's $18 an hour for the coordinator, what's that times 40 hours a week, times 8 weeks, times 6 weeks? Are we gonna charge for playground? We never did in the past. I always disagreed that we didn't charge for it in the past because I felt like there should be some money coming into it. So for budget, we really need to sit down and we need to figure out the nuts and bolts of it. If we're gonna hire, a coordinator, an assistant coordinator for playground and 4 employees, what are they getting paid hourly? How many hours a week? How many weeks are they doing it? So
I'd like to do a meeting on
That's
this.
kinda how we
where
just
that
figure it
just
out.
do a meeting on just the budget and that's it. No other items, no nothing. I think that we should, I think Erin has some wonderful things. We did pay, and they did pay, one of the last years of the playground program. They did ask us for money. I did pay for money. One of those last years, we had to do like, it was like a buck a day or something. When the kid went in, we had to pay something, but that was at the end. They were going to try to do that. But I think that I feel like that our commission, I know it's a pain with the holidays and stuff, but I really feel like we should just have a meeting just on the budget so that these things, and that's my point, that these things come in. Erin has some wonderful things. She understands it. She was a coordinator. Joy understands the swimming program. I sat on the beach on the swimming program. My kids were in rec department. I had children in the play group. I understand what I paid or didn't pay as a parent. Most of us have. So we get that part too. And I really feel like that this is the first time I feel like this is an important thing. We don't overstep our bound and ask too much money, but yet not get to the point that we get bumped out, we lose something.
So I mean, as far as budgeting goes, if we want to make our FY23 goals, we should reasonably budget to meet those goals or cut back on the goals. And if our budget get cuts, I'd rather ask for too much, and that's probably why we only got $7,500 last time, is because that's all we asked for. I'd rather ask for too much. And if we have to cut things, then start looking for alternative ways to fund those things, like grants or,
Well,
donations.
any of us can
and
go,
all
we can
that
go
kind of
online and look
stuff,
at the
right?
previous town meetings, which I put like myself.
I'm saying as a general budgeting concept, I'm not worried about overstepping our bounds. If we had a survey, the town's interested in the programs we have to offer, plus some. We had to set good goals, FY23 goals. If we want a ski program, it's gonna cost a lot of money to run a ski program,
Yeah,
right?
I
And this is what we're gonna
Well,
need. We shouldn't
I
ask.
don't
Well, the
see
And if
ski
we have to
program,
cut
I don't-
something, if we have to cut ski program, then maybe that needs to be self-sustaining or some other means of funding. That's what we gotta look
But
at.
I don't feel like this, like the ski program, I don't really think I think it's more of a scheduling and doing the bus. And I mean, when I seen the $1,000 for the ski program, I was like, for what? It's just
For
gonna,
what?
she said she's gonna volunteer. We can have volunteer things. We don't have to pay for everything. We can have somebody who's coordinating a schedule for a bus and booking a bus and we're taking in the fees and making the payment. We don't need to pay every little thing either. We can have volunteer things. We can have fundraisers for stuff to pay for other things like swim class. We could have a fundraiser to help pay for some of
That's
the
what I'm
items for
saying, but
swim
it-
class.
that-
if we
Alright,
want.
excuse me, I'd like to interrupt.
Sorry,
It's
Jessica.
8:30. We've been at this for 2 hours and 30 minutes. If we're going to have a meeting before about the budget, let's set this up.
Yeah.
And let's
When-
close this up.
When does it do, the submission?
January 3rd.
Right.
What are you
When,
doing next Monday?
We're wrapping gifts.
Adam, when do you want the budgets by?
January 3rd?
Yeah. Do we have, does TCTV available on January 3rd?
that's when the budget's due.
Oh, it's on
We
the
have to have
budget.
it before then.
Oh, budget's due. I thought that was a
So you're
date.
talking
I'm
about
sorry.
next-
So December, what day is
Aaron, go
Monday?
ahead.
Can I ask a real quick question? Is there someone on for the town that can sit in on this meeting with us and give us some guidance where this is our first time really kind of getting into this?
Right here. She's an amazing staff
Yes.
member. Yeah, we're fortunate to have-
Jackie, are you comfortable with guiding us along with this?
If I have a question, I will have Adam on speed dial.
But if I can say, I think the board's got to ultimately decide, like the advisory committee, when they approved their budget, they did it as a group.
Hmm.
I think the chair put together what they were gonna, their proposal was, but the committee ultimately voted on each. The entire budget to be sent forward, or the board can designate the chair to do it. And work with Jackie to put it together. It's ultimately up to the committee and how they wanna proceed forward. So if you wanna have another meeting to go over it and do it like the advisory committee did, that's up to you.
I like that idea, where Jackie and Jess would work together on a proposal for us. And then we would have something to work from the day that we meet. So kind of like the mission statement, we had that, a proposal to work on, and we completed it.
Mhm.
Rather than starting from scratch again. I like that.
I'm sorry, use the last couple of, the ones that the last 2018, and those last ones that are closer to what we are now, because we're just really building on that, because that other thing didn't really take off, so it never happened, so. And we haven't voted or talked about that in our commission anyway.
It's up to them. if they
So.
do.
All right, come on, let's set a date.
Yeah, no meeting next Monday. We are booked through the holiday.
There is not anything available that I said.
Yeah,
So does it,
How about the 27th?
yeah, we can do the week after Christmas.
All right, so then when are you and I gonna get together then?
What do you-
TCTV wants to have.
You can shoot me your schedule for the rest of this week and we can figure something out.
All right,
What date would that meeting be after Christmas?
I'm texting him.
Do the 27th or the 29th.
27th, town hall is closed. Sorry.
29th is the-
no, like I say, as a general concept, we should put in what we reasonably think to meet our goals, or it's cut goals, right?
Yeah.
And let them, why cut?
That's his job.
Yeah, that's your job.
It's tough. All of our kids play on the varsity basketball teams, girls and boys, and they play opposite nights. So I'm like looking at the schedules to figure out when we
Okay,
can
he
be.
said we are not taking meetings the week after Christmas. Do these meetings have to be filmed? In a situation like this where,
We're done at that point. We can't get it done.
and we
Yeah.
can't do it via email either, right?
Nope.
Can we email Jackie our ideas and then designate Jessica to work with her to
I think that would be
put those
appropriate.
ideas down?
he said, the only chance is this Thursday, and that's not gonna give Jesse and I enough time.
Gosh, no.
So,
Oh, I'm not even gonna be here.
So you said we can kind of email
Jackie,
Jess.
because Jackie's not subject to the.
So we can email
Individually, we can
individually
email
email
you
Jackie. and
our
Jess,
individual
and Jackie
ones,
can work together.
but we
Jess and
individually
Jack,
think
yeah,
it.
that, like Jackie will work with Jessica putting it together, but you could individually. If you have an idea, Candy has an idea, or Joy, they email Jackie, just Jackie. That's fine.
We can't.
It's just if you're all dialogue, you can't have it.
Yeah,
So that Jackie has that information when she meets with Jessica, so now they have our input. And that they use
Right.
our input to figure out what would be appropriate for us.
so I'm gonna make a motion for us to send our inputs to Jackie, and then her and Jessica will put together the budget.
Jackie, when would you like that by?
I would say,
January 2nd.
Sooner rather than later.
Want to say by Monday?
Monday would be great, then that'll give
Monday, the
us-
20th,
so,
by Monday, the 20th.
I second.
Okay, roll call vote, Jessica,
Yes,
Eric,
Yes,
David,
Yes,
Aaron,
Yes.
I vote yes, Joy, Candace.
Yes.
Okay, so that's. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
We have to reschedule our next meeting in January,
Oh, yeah. Oops.
our January meeting for do that.
We need a meeting in January. What's it?
Yep. Yeah, take them to the dog. Take them to the dog. Take them to- He needs to meet you.
just let it go.
Are you looking for a date, Jessica?
Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to throw something out.
Do we want to do the first week in January or want to do the second?
Depends on the date, what day you want to do the second. We're not gonna be here the 10th. We're going to Miami.
What about will you be back by the 13th? No?
Yes,
Steve said January 3rd, 4th, 5th, 17th, and 19th are available.
How about the 19th?
That's my birthday.
Birthday.
I mean, it's James Chaplin's birthday too, and I really close, so.
Yeah, but is town hall gonna be open on the 17th though? It's Martin Luther King Day.
As I was saying, the 19th.
19th, yeah.
All right, it's 6 o'clock, 19.
It always snows, just letting you know, it's the
January
coldest
9th.
day. It's usually the coldest day and it always snows. What's the,
So
6
the
o'clock.
19th,
19th, 6 o'clock.
19th at 6 o'clock.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second. Jessica,
I third.
that's a yes. Derek,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
yes for me.
Yes.
George, yes.
Yes.
Candace,
yes.
okay. Our work
All right.
here is